Hello. Hello, Gazelle. Why no sound?
Hi.
Hello. How have you been?
I've been well. It's been a while, It's been like 48 hours since we spoke, roughly.
Well, there was the weekend.
And so, how are you doing?
Yeah, fine. I think I'm getting definition on my interpretation of secular Quranism. I'm sticking to my guns about licensed brothels, one-party theocracy, and the reintroduction of slavery. So um, I'm, you know, giving it the distinctiveness that I think it needs to, you know, in comparison with perhaps any other interpretations of it.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you're getting somewhere with your secular Quranism thing.
Well, I don't know about getting anywhere, but it's necessary to stick
I
to
think I think you're
one's
nearly
principles.
you're nearly there. You're nearly on Radio 4. You're nearly on the Moral Maze. You're going to be presenting with David Aronovich. And he's going to be really interested because he's Jewish, and he's going to be fascinated by your fixation with Jews. I think he's gonna see it as a sort of positive.
What secular Quranism? He's going to see it as a positive.
No, he's going. I said that he is Jewish, David Aronovich,
I know.
and I feel that he will take your fixation with Jews as a positive.
Oh, right. Well, I guess Jews must be so used to Gentiles, being fixated on them for centuries. So, but yeah, that would be good. I mean, if they come, you know, come and drag me to BBC studios instead of pretending I don't exist.
Yeah, that must be the reason that you know the reason for why they're not allowing you on is because they pretend that you don't exist.
Yes. Yes, I mean, I think I'd give them a pretty good news story if they were interested in featuring human interest stories. They don't have to like it. They can, do a hit piece. They could, mock the idea, but they won't even do that. So we must wonder why. I think it's because it's so dangerous.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there. Um, so why are you using StreamYard today and not Restream?
Because I haven't used StreamYard for such a long time, and I want people who did listen to me on YouTube to kind of let them know that I'm thinking of them, and maybe they'll come and post in the chat,
Hmm. But
which
can you not do the same with Restream? You can't connect that to YouTube, is it? I thought you do that anyway.
um I guess I could. Well, you see, I have issues with my YouTube channel because technically all the associated channels would go after the main one has gone. So I'm a little uncertain about my status, and I'm sure that's what they want me to think. But I guess if I could still stream on YouTube, I should try to do so for maximum coverage, and to show my YouTube subscribers that I haven't forgotten them. I think that's sort of
Okay,
a
well,
little bit important.
your impressions have peaked on Twitter.
Um, Peaked or increased. Did you mean?
Increased.
Yeah.
What does
I mean,
peaks mean?
well, peak means you reach the top and
Yeah.
you're
Well,
going down.
yeah. No, well, okay, fine. You're not going down, but actually, yeah, you are. It has peaked actually. In that it was 5K impressions, right?
Right. It was 5,300 or something,
Yeah,
and it stopped going up. Is that
on
what you
the
mean?
on the last stream that we did with Dixon called Andrew Tate, Marmite.
Yes. So I think titling it correctly, well, appropriately, helps with the views, I guess.
I didn't do the audition on Sunday, which was
Uh,
yesterday.
that's a shame. Do you still want to do it, or have you
I don't
lost
know.
interest?
Yes, do you know what? Yesterday, I just did not feel well at all. I mean, I managed to do one sort of space with Hedgehog and Dixon at night, but I still wasn't feeling that amazing. And I kind of, because Hedgehog really, really wanted to space, and he had like this long list of things to talk about. And I kind of felt bad, and I thought, I might as well just jump on a space with him and talk to him. So I had like a really bad migraine, so I did not do the auditions.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I would even want to do them. I don't know if that's just the sort of aftermath of having a migraine. You just feel dead, or I've genuinely just lost interest. I mean, you tweeted at me and said that we should both try to be Mr. Darcy.
I think that would be fun. That would pique the interest of the guys who probably go, oh, I'm sure I can do better than those two silly women.
I don't.
And,
Yeah.
and
Well, what do you want me to read out from the 2005 screenplay?
yeah, I think so because I suppose the highlight for it would be the proposal bit, right? Or
Mhm.
or maybe you can think of it as another good scene that is dramatic and whatever. So I think the book better than me, but I'm assuming that in a romantic novel, the highlight would be the proposal and being turned down, and then the proposal and being accepted, and you know um but maybe you have better ideas, but I think the idea is to get the men to want to do it, and what could pique their sense of rivalry more than two women playing a male role. um,
Okay. Well, I thought maybe you could offer a more therapeutic interpretation as well for me. Like, why should we do this?
um,
Maybe taking into account Morrison and all that jazz.
well, you want to do it because you're trying to exorcise your demons
Right.
of and you want a story that ends happily, and you think, but I mean, does this sort of Pride and Prejudice situation
I
fit in
actually
with
want to
with Darcy?
exercise. I want to exercise any image of that space I have in my mind. The counterculture one with what's his name,
Matthew Goodwin.
Matthew Goodwin.
Matthew Goodwin. Yeah, I listened to a bit of it, and I posted a tweet under his space, asking him if he considered religion, and it's really annoying me now how they can't even respond to it. I guess people who know me, when they don't like it when I start the conversation is
Yeah, but he
what do you
doesn't
think
know
religion is
you,
for?
so he's not gonna. He doesn't know you, so he's not gonna respond. However, say if somebody like Andrew Tate actually asked him the question, he would actually tweet about it. Whether he'll reply in the affirmative or he'll reject whatever Andrew Tate is saying, it doesn't matter. The point is that he will reply. So the reason he's not replying to is not because it's something personal against you, it's because he just doesn't know who you are.
Okay, I mean, I was listening to the rules for being verified and getting an income from Twitter, and there was advice, wasn't there, that you get certain points for high engagement, and then you get more points if you respond to your to people who tweet at you.
Mm.
And but anyway, he doesn't care. But it just
Okay,
annoys
but
me that all these
I
people
don't.
who just
When you see these people, when you see these sorts of controlled opposition types, or just plain old grifters, don't you just sort of thank God in your heart that Andrew Tate exists?
yes, I do.
I do.
I mean, I do support him.
honestly, Andrew Tate is the first time in years that I have shown any gratitude to God.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels really wonderful, actually, to be able to be grateful to God. And not just grateful for the sake of myself, like, oh, thank you, God, for giving me everything. Yeah, okay, yeah, God has given me a lot. But at the same time, I'm just, it's way more liberating when you're thanking God for something more than yourself.
Well, he is a beacon of hope in the
Yeah.
sense that he actually understands the opposition toward against him. On the Tucker Carlson's show, I mean, he openly entertained the possibility of being assassinated, and he said he's still going to do it, which I thought was heroic. You know,
Mm,
and
yeah.
he said it more than once. Which shows that he understands and is prepared
Mm.
to.
And he also seems to have a recognition that the economy is moving into a sort of comms only kind of situation where a comms only structure, sorry.
What does that mean? I'm not
It
quite
just
sure
it
I
just
understand
means
that.
that people are just like words in and of themselves have value.
Yes.
And so
I
people
mean,
are
I
just
mean,
making
words
money off
represent
words.
ideas. So,
Yeah, words may represent ideas, but it's just like how much more can you analyze free speech and counterculture? They were actually coming up with like new buzzwords for explaining the free speech predicament in the UK. So they're not really interested in any solutions or anything like that. They're just interested in prolonging the problem so that they can just talk about it and get more impressions, and that's about it. And so
could you elaborate on what you mean? Because I'm really not quite sure.
no, I don't think I can.
Okay.
It's I've
Well, you
explained
mean
it as
people
simply as I
talking in,
could.
in an unintelligible way to avoid
No,
being called out?
no, I'm just saying the economic value is in prolonging debate and just having your own little comms cult, like a communications cult. We've got 100 people or something in your little Twitter space, just talking about the same thing over and over and
Their own,
over and over
their
again.
own
And
echo
so
chamber.
yeah, exactly. So we're just seeing these echo chambers, and they are all self-serving. There's nothing, really extrinsic about them. They're just, they're there, and the value is within the circle itself. That's about it.
Yes. So really, you have these narcissists who, in the end, start fighting with each other
Yeah, so I'm so
because
glad that Andrew Tate exists, because he can shut all of these people up. Like, for example, like if I became a public person, right? And I tweeted at somebody like Matthew Goodwin and I said, you're just a grifter, or something like that. Obviously he's going to shut me down, and he'll send his mob after me, right? So his little minions, his followers, they'll retweet him, they'll like his sort of tweets against me. This is a hypothetical situation, by the way. However, I don't think Matthew Goodwin could shut Andrew Tate up.
certainly
Like, say if
not.
exactly. So if and so these people realize it, right? So then there is a hierarchy within the sort of free speech grifter scene, and I am so happy that if there is a leader, it is Andrew Tate.
Yeah, well, he's head and shoulders above little Nick Fuentes. I mean, if you're thinking in terms of
No, but
white national.
Nick Fuentes isn't involved in cancelling other people, so I'm just fine with Nick Fuentes doing whatever he wants. Whereas a lot of the people in the free speech scene, they are highly self-serving bad actors,
Like whom?
like Matthew Goodwin,
Okay.
like a lot of people in the space. I mean, the reason I actually screenshot that space was to just have a kind of mental image of uh, you know a kind of record in my mind that, oh, okay, these are the people that are sort of associated with the sort of self-serving free speech lot. Because you don't see Andrew Tate in their spaces, right? There's a guy called Rob Henderson. There's Constantine Kissin, the comedian, ex-comedian, whatever he is. There's Melissa Chen, who is
all Islamophobes.
Yeah, okay. He is a whatever, but she is a Singaporean girl who's kind of just left Singapore, and she kind of bitches about Singapore as well for not being free speech enough for her. And she was working at the remember during my more ex-Muslim days, she was working with what's its name? Some foundation for radical secular ideas or something like that. And the founder of that organization was an Iraqi ex-Muslim called Faisal al-Mutar. So yeah, it's just a kind of collection of really sort of random people, and they really think, oh, how to build a counterculture. Look at us. Like, just shut the fuck up, man. Like,
yeah, I know. And did you listen to it? I only caught the end of it.
No, I did listen to it. It wasn't recorded. So, and I wish I'd made some notes, but some really sort of interesting buzzwords were being thrown around because they were really trying to analyze free speech. They were like, do you know what it is? Like, if you're so interested in the sound of your own voice and you just want to make money off comms and buzzwords, why didn't you just become sort of like a consultant at the Big Four or something? Why don't you like get a good career? Why are you trying to turn politics into your little consultant baby? I don't get it.
Well, I think a lot of people...
Go on.
People in their heads can't work out what they're doing online. Are they political activists or just sort of
they need to
out?
stop they need to stop having narcissistic personality disorder. Yeah, I'm sorry to be an armchair psychologist about it, but I'm just using it for rhetorical reasons. But the point is, why can they just not come out of it for even? They can't even come out of it for like a good hour. Like, for fuck's sake, just get over yourselves.
Well, the thing is, they're not even thinking properly, because really, okay, you think there's a problem, then you have to, you have to have a solution to be, higher in status to the people who don't have a solution. I mean, that's how I think. I mean, isn't it logical?
Agree, but can we
just... people want to compete with you, will have to show that their solution is better than yours. And this is how you get to the top solution.
They don't want solutions.
Yeah, because they just want to.
Would lead
they
to the
want
death
their own
of their
echo
cult.
chambers. They're not interested.
No, let's not even call it echo chamber, because when we call it an echo chamber, we kind of romanticize it. Like, how cute, you've got an echo chamber online. No, they just want to have their own little cults. Like, get over yourselves and think about the bigger picture, for God's sake. Yeah, and look, I'll just give a little summary of all the people here. So you've got Matthew Goodwin, who's written some book on populism. So he's trying really hard to be like the British Steve Bannon. It ain't happening, mate. Okay. And then you've got Rob Henderson, who's just, I don't know, he's half Chinese or something. American academic. He's just posting stuff from psychology journals all the time, like, women have 1.4% more mating success than men in the islands of the Caribbean. Like, oh, shut up. And then you've got Constantine Kissin, who's just this really not so funny comedian who really doesn't believe in true free speech, because anytime Israel is mentioned, he will throw a hissy fit. Then you've got Melissa Chen, who's just like, ooh, Singapore doesn't have free speech. I would love to live in Singapore. Like, come on, it's way better than living in the United Kingdom right now. So I don't know what you're talking about, Melissa.
Have you ever been?
I haven't been, but I know it's good. I've got family, friends and things like that who live there. So
Is kissing the better looking guy and not the nerdy guy with the
Yeah,
glass?
Kissin is the slightly better looking guy in the Trigonometry podcast. Like, oh, for God's sake! Like, whoever came up with that name, oh, come on. Who else have you got in this? Because I'm just looking at the screenshot I had of that space. I can't really see the full names in this case. Like, I can't even click on them because it's a screenshot. But I don't know, some Catherine chick who's a journalist. She's quite all right. And I had a couple more screenshots. I don't know who Ash Hirani is. Um, who else have we got here? Sorry, I'm just looking at the second tweet in that thread. Yeah, you've got Wasik, you know, some Muslim who doesn't have a real name or a real surname. I don't get it. Like, his surname is the same as his first name, and he's working at the Henry Jackson Society, and you know, he's just sucking up to sort of Hindutva trolls. Yeah, neocons, Hindutva trolls, and you know, okay, some of his concerns are concerning. I get it. You know, Islamic extremism in Britain, things like that. But you know, let's be honest. Britain was absolutely fine with, you know, thousands upon thousands of their own citizens joining ISIS. Like, they literally promoted this policy. And Wasik, he's working at a think tank that supported this policy. So what is the point of crying about Islamic extremism when you literally support it as a foreign policy thing? And then you've got Robbie Travers, who's just some weirdo gay that's been cancelled from the right anyway, and he just sort of frequents these spaces sometimes. He's just always posting on Instagram about, you know, how much he loves to suck dick. Well, congratulations, Robbie Travers. Who else have we got? I don't know when else really stands out to me in this second screenshot. And the third screenshot, you know, you've got Clifton. Sorry, the third screenshot, you've got Clifton Duncan, who's some black African American sort of theatre guy who's now a free speech advocate because he saw some Douglas Murray podcast, and it's like, oh my gosh, Douglas Murray, you are like so fucking cool, and I'm gonna like totally bum you. I mean, congratulations, Clifton, for your achievement. And I don't know who this is. I don't know who these people are. You've got some random Sikh man who's, you know, crying about Sikh phobia. He's called Jeet Sidhu. And I don't know who all the other people are. I didn't take any more screenshots beyond that, so maybe there are some names that I know. But anyway, yeah, like that's a summary of the people in this how to build a counterculture space. Like, oh, for fuck's sake!
It's so stupid.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we
I've heard him.
We need Andrew Tate to literally destroy these people. Come on.
Well, I mean, he's the only one who actually proposes something that people instantly understand. It's like, you know, what is Matthew Goodwin even proposing? He's just saying, "Ooh, cancel culture. I'm afraid of it," and people say how brave I am, and that was his last. That was at the end, wasn't it? When he was saying that his, you know, academic associates praise him for being so outspoken, and they would never dare, you know. Did you hear that bit?
Which bit and what?
In that space with Matthew Goodwin saying that his academic associates were praising him for being so outspoken.
Oh yeah, and then he has like a list of 100 or so academics who are so worried about their free speech whatevers. Like, none of these academics even get married. They're all like single at the age of 70. Ooh, what about free speech issues? Well, of course you've got free speech issues because you don't have a wife to suck your dick, and you don't have any kids. And so, and some of them obviously.
So that they're not going to fight for anything because they're not.
Yeah, so it's just they're just bored. They're just bored. They don't have anything else going for them in life. They're on, you know, crappy sort of academic salaries, which I don't think they can complain about now. Like they opted for this career, right? They wanted to be on this sort of academic salary, which is fine. But it's like, how much can you moan? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just in a very sort of moany mood. I'm just whinging.
Well, I mean, I've been asking, all these nationalists. Well, you haven't got anybody else, and lots of boomers hate Tate. It's like, oh, we wish he would be a bit classier, not so street and ghetto and talking the way he does. And it's like, well, beggars
Yeah,
can't
but
be
they're
choosers.
just, yeah. Well, they need to they need to learn to say that to Tate's face, because it's like, it's so easy to set up a space and just moan about these things, but will they really say this to Andrew Tate's face, or will they just keep complaining to a bunch of their sort of friends, like who they feel comfortable with? Are they really alphas? Are they strong enough to do anything, or are they just a bunch of pussies? Because I think it's the latter.
I agree, but the women, I mean, but it's like I mean, they want some sort of polite, uh,
I don't
character
agree. I
who
don't agree that women want that though.
telegenic character who hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, I guess that's what they want, right?
I don't
Somebody like
agree that women
Jonathan
want that though.
Payson Brown.
Listen, I don't agree that women want that though. I haven't
Uh,
really seen much pushback from women against Andrew Tate. I've seen a lot of pushback from men, especially men who we want free speech and we love Jordan Peterson and we just love free speech. You know, like they hate Andrew Tate. It's unbelievable.
well, but because the basic, well, I mean, they're Islamophobes who don't want to declare their name. But
Well,
I'm
they didn't
talking
like
about
Andrew
Muslim
Tate.
women who don't
They
like
didn't
it.
like Andrew Tate. They didn't like Andrew Tate before he converted. So
Hmm. But I mean, the
yeah.
PUA is not. Well, I mean, it was something that was fashionable, wasn't it, for a while under Rouge, and Rouge had quite a lot of following. But when he tried to organise his meetings, when he was going to go and meet the people, and in the end was put on a no-fly list or something.
Okay, well, you can be Darcy now. I don't want to talk about Rouge because I don't know him, and I don't find him interesting. And I'm in love with Andrew Tate,
Yes,
and I
I'm
felt a lot of
I'm just
love this
talking about
evening.
parallels, about
Mm,
who they represent and why they
well,
want to destroy him.
Rouge hates
Because
Andrew Tate. Okay,
yeah, because he's an Islamophobe. Because which I can understand, but obviously the women, the Muslim women who hate him for another reason, because I guess he does talk like a criminal, you know, the way he acts, the way he struts his stuff, the way he
who?
Tate,
Right.
the way he struts, right? His gait, everything about him would um, set the alarm bells ringing to for certain kinds of women. So I'm talking about Peacock Club 786, i.e. Carol and Carol Assad Returns. Um, they can't stand Tate. I don't know if you know that.
I don't really care about Carol because she's probably a minger underneath her little niqab.
I don't care either, but it's basically we. Okay, I just want to work out why certain
Carol
people
just
hate.
has her own Carol just has her own little issues, like whatever bipolar disorder or whatever she has. She's like, oh, look at me! I'm gonna live stream and I'm gonna start reading out from secular Quranism in a flipping niqab and talk about white Muslims. Like, are you okay? Like, I don't think you're okay, Carol. I'm sorry, but let's talk about let's just do the Darcy thing. Come on.
Okay, have you got the link?
Yeah, have you?
I need to look for it again. So maybe if you post it to me in the private chat, I can go straight to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we doing chapter 34 then?
Yeah, do you know how to find it?
You said it was 70 last time.
Okay, so let's go to 70. So who's playing Darcy?
You. Well, we could start from 66.
All right.
Can't you just read the entire thing out to me?
Well, it starts with Lady Catherine saying stuff, right?
Yeah, well, you would be in
And
nobody's
and, and,
way,
and
you
then,
know,
okay,
in
okay,
that
I'll be
part
Lady
of the
Catherine.
house. Okay.
You would be in nobody's way, you know, in that part of the house. Darcy flinches at her bad manners. I guess
No,
what
just
that.
don't read the narration. Fuck that. I can see it. So, you mean to frighten me, Mr. Darcy, by coming in all your state to hear me? But I won't be alarmed, even though your sister does not play so well.
I am well enough acquainted with you, Miss Bennet, to know I cannot alarm you, even should I wish it.
What was my friend like in Hertfordshire? You really care to know? The Colonel. Oh, sorry, no, doesn't matter. Prepare yourself for something very dreadful. You.
I knew nobody beyond my own party.
True, and nobody can be introduced in a ballroom. Well, you're.
Fitzwilliam,
Yeah.
come here and talk to us. Darcy and Elizabeth are alone. I do not have the talent of conversing easily with people I've never met before.
Maybe you should take your aunt's advice and practice.
Darcy flinches. Lizzie turns away from him and
Elizabeth is
powers
writing.
again.
Blah blah blah. Blah blah
I
blah.
think we kind of need to read this so people. Okay,
Oh,
okay, make all right, all right. Okay, okay, it's your turn.
Okay, sorry. Mr. Darcy, please do be seated. I'm afraid Mr. and Mrs. Collins are gone on business to the village.
This is a charming house. I believe my aunt did a great deal to it when Mr. Collins first arrived.
I believe so, and she could not have bestowed her kindness on a more grateful.
Mr. Collins seems very fortunate in his choice of wife.
He is indeed lucky to have found one of the few sensible women who would have accepted him. Oh, shall I call for some tea?
No, thank you. Good day, Miss Bennet. It's been a pleasure.
What on earth have you done to poor Mr. Darcy? I have no idea. How long do you plan to stay in Kent, Colonel?
As long as Darcy chooses, I am at his disposal.
I do imagine your cousin brought down with him chiefly to have someone to order around. I wonder he does not marry and secure a lasting convenience of that kind.
She would be a lucky woman.
Really?
Darcy is a most loyal companion. From what I heard on our journey here, he recently came to the rescue of one of his friends just in time.
What?
Darcy. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
What happened?
He
Oh
said,
no! Sorry. You were meant to read that out. I thought there was narration again.
Yes. Darcy, waylaid by various people, comes out of the church. His
No, that's not. No, that is narration. Sorry.
Okay.
Why is this narration bit not in
in
italics
or
something?
something,
Yeah.
because
Okay. What happened?
he saved the man from an impudent marriage. An imprudent marriage. He saved the man from an imprudent marriage.
Who was the man?
his closest friend, Mr. Bingley. Mr. Bingley.
Did Mr. Darcy give you his reasons for this interference?
There were apparently strong objections to the lady.
What kind of objections? Her lack of fortune?
I think it was her family that was considered unsuitable.
So he separated them?
I believe so. I know nothing else.
I wish Mr. Darcy and all his friends well in finding partners suitable to their very high standards. Good morning, Colonel Fitzwilliam.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Darcy.
So this is the proposal bit, everybody. So I have to take a deep breath. Miss Bennet, I have struggled in vain, but I can bear it no longer. The past months have been a torment. I came to Rosings with the single object of seeing you. I had to see you.
Me?
Sorry, I fought against my better judgment, my family's expectation, the inferiority of your birth, my rank and circumstance, all these things, but I'm willing to put them aside and ask you to end my agony.
I don't understand.
I love you most ardently. Please do the honor of accepting my hand.
Sir, I appreciate the struggle you have been through, and I'm very sorry to have caused you pain. Believe me, it was unconsciously done.
I think you need more emotion in that. Can you try it again?
Sir! I appreciate
More contempt.
Sir. Okay, wait. I can't get into character today. It's just, I don't know.
Okay, well, but anyway, you need to inject a bit more contempt, right? Yeah, and voice shaking, shake your voice, shake. Am I reading the next bit?
No, my tab got like sort of lost, and then I tried to turn the mic on again. It wouldn't work. 1 second. Okay, I'm just opening up the thingy again. Okay, so yeah. Okay, wait.
Your voice has to shake.
Yeah, but she doesn't. Keira Knightley's voice does not shake in this scene. I'm sorry, but okay, sorry. Okay, sir, I appreciate the struggle you have been through. No, okay, I'll be serious. Wait. Why don't you do it? Go on.
Sir, I appreciate the struggle you have been through, and I'm very sorry to have caused you pain. Believe me, it was unconsciously done. I did manage to inject the contempt. Maybe I'll try again. Sir, I appreciate the struggle you've been through, and I'm very sorry to have caused you pain. Believe me, it was unconsciously done.
Wait, do you know what I need to do? I need to channel how I talk to you when you're talking about secular Quranism. Okay. Sir, I appreciate the struggle you've been through, but I'm very sorry to have caused you pain. Believe me, it was unconsciously done. No, that was sort of shit as well.
It was just like exactly like what it was before. Is this your reply?
No, I need to do that again.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Morrison, I appreciate the struggle you've been through, and I'm very sorry to have caused you pain. Believe me, it was unconsciously done.
Is this your reply?
Yes, Morrison.
Are you laughing at me?
No.
Are you rejecting me?
I'm sure that the feelings which, as you've told me, have hindered your regard will help. No, that was rubbish. No, you do this.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm drunk on sugar.
It's very hard to say because of all these clauses. I'm sure that the feelings which, as you've told me, have hindered your regard will help you in overcoming it. I know I didn't do that well, but anyway, I can't inject the contempt into it. But with practice, I can do
Okay,
it.
wait. I need to just channel my hatred for Morrison. I'm sure that the feelings which no. Okay. I'm sure that the feelings which, as you've told me, have hindered your regard will help you in overcoming it.
Might I ask why, with so little endeavour at civility, I am thus repulsed?
I might as well inquire with. Okay, she's
Oh
trembling with
no, you're
emotion.
trembling with emotion, for God's sake.
Morrison.
You can't shake your voice. Tremble with emotion.
I might as well inquire why, with so evident a design of insulting me, you chose to tell me that you liked me against your better judgment. If I was uncivil, that was some excuse.
Believe me, I didn't mean.
But I have other reasons. You know I have.
What reasons?
Do you think that anything might tempt me to accept the man who has ruined perhaps forever the happiness of a most beloved sister? Do you deny it, Mr. Darcy, that you separated a young couple who loved each other, exposing your friend to the censure of the world for caprice, and my sister to its derision for disappointed hopes, and involving them both in misery of the acutest kind?
I do not deny it.
How could you do it?
Because I believed your sister indifferent to him.
Indifferent?
I watched them most carefully and realized his attachment was much deeper than hers.
That's because she's shy.
Bingley is too modest and was persuaded that she didn't feel strongly for him.
But you suggested it.
I did it for his own good.
My sister hardly shows her true feelings to me. I suppose you suspect that his fortune had some bearing on the matter.
No, I wouldn't do your sister the dishonour, though it was suggested.
What was?
It was perfectly clear that an advantageous marriage.
Did my sister give that impression?
No. There was, however, I have to admit, the matter of your family.
Our want of connection. Mr. Bingley didn't vex himself about that.
No, it was more than that.
How, sir?
It pains me to say this, but it was the lack of propriety shown by your mother, your 3 younger sisters, even on occasion your father. Forgive me.
That's so
You and your sister, I must exclude from this.
And what about Mr. Wickham?
Mr. Wickham?
What excuse can you give for your behaviour to him?
You take an eager interest in that gentleman's concerns?
He told me of his misfortunes.
Oh, yes, his misfortunes have been very great indeed.
You have ruined his chances, and yet treat him with sarcasm.
So this is your opinion of me. Thank you for explaining so fully. Perhaps these offences might have been overlooked if your pride had not been hurt.
My pride?
By my honesty in admitting scruples about our relationship? Could you expect me to rejoice in the inferiority of your circumstances?
Oh, and those are the words of a gentleman. From the first moment I met you, your arrogance and conceit, your selfishness, disdain for the feelings of others, made me realize that you were the last man in the world I could ever be prevailed upon to marry.
Forgive me, madam, for taking up so much of your time.
Elizabeth! I was caught somewhat off guard.
Shall I call the doctor?
No, Charlotte. Oh, okay. No, Charlotte. I shall be quite all right. Please give Lady is it Burr?
De Burgh.
Please give Lady de Burgh my apologies. You must not keep her waiting.
Come on, we shall be late. These are. I came to leave you. This is Darcy. I came to leave you this.
Wait, where is this?
75.
Okay.
Elizabeth is in the drawing room. She looks at a book on the table. Okay. I'm not going to renew the sentiments which were so disgusting to you, but to address the 2 offences you have laid against me. I had not long been in Hertfordshire before I saw that Bingley preferred your elder sister. I observed my friend's behaviour attentively, and I could perceive that his partiality for Miss Bennet was beyond what I have ever witnessed in him. Yet, when I observed your sister, I detected no symptom of peculiar regard, and witnessed only the family's coarse appetite for having their daughters married favourably. And so, in London, perhaps erroneously, I persuaded him of the unfitness of the match, citing your sister's coolness towards him. It was unknowingly done, and through the motives which governed me made to you appear naturally insufficient, they were done to protect a friend. As to the other more serious matter, my father provided for Mr. Wickham a valuable living. But upon his death, however, Mr. Wickham told me that he had no intention of taking orders, and would I recompense him to the tune of 3,000 so he could go to town and study the law. This I did, though by now I had some doubts about his character. These were confirmed by reports that he had sunk into a life of idleness, gambling, and dissipation. The money was soon used up, whereupon he wrote demanding more money, which I refused, whereupon he severed all. Okay. But last summer, he was unwillingly obtruded. He was unwillingly obtruded on my notice when he connived a relationship with my sister, whom he persuaded to be in love with him, and made him consent to an elopement. But she was but 15. Mr. Wickham's prime objective was an inheritance of £30,000, but hope of revenging me was a strong inducement. I was lucky enough to persuade my sister of her folly. I hope this goes somewhere to mitigating my behaviour in your eyes. If you doubt my word, please have it confirmed by my cousin Fitzwilliam.
Oh,
You're shaking.
Lizzie. Lizzie, are you all right? I do not know. I hardly know myself.
P.S. As we shall never meet again, I wish you all happiness in the future.
fortunate. You were here just in time to catch everybody coming through from Longburn. How is Jane? She's outside. I'm quite over him, Lizzie. If he passed in the street, I would hardly notice. London is so diverting. Oh, Jane. It's true. What with the theatre and... Tell me, what news from Kent? Nothing. Everything as you might imagine.
Lizzie! Tell Mama! Tell her! Mrs. Forster has invited me.
Why didn't she... Sorry. Oh, okay, Kitty.
Why didn't she ask me as well?
Kitty, what's happened?
Because she likes me better. I've just as much right as Lydia.
Oh, that's you.
Oh, if I could but go to Brighton.
And more so because I'm 2 years older.
Lydia has been invited to Brighton with the Forsters.
A little sea bathing would set me up very nicely.
I shall dine with the officers every night.
Are you going to do the anguish wail from Kitty?
I shall dine with the officers every night.
I'm sure I cried for 2 days when Colonel Miller's regiment went away. Thought I should have broken my heart.
Mother, are you all mad? What do you mean, Mother, are you all mad? Who's she talking to? Like she's calling everybody mad? Or
yes,
she's just
I
saying
guess. She glares at them, deeply upset by them, by everything.
Okay. Please, Papa, don't let her go.
Lydia will never be easy till she has exposed herself in some public place or other, and we can never expect her to do it.
No, we need some secular Quranism here. Lydia will never be easy till she has exposed herself in some public place or other, and we can never expect her to do so. To do it with so little inconvenience as under the present circumstances.
Why has Mr. Bennett got an American accent now?
Because he's Philip Goodwin. He's got secular Quranism. If you, dear father, will not take the trouble to check her, she will be fixed forever as the silliest and most determined flirt who ever made her family ridiculous. And Kitty will follow, as she always does.
We shall have no peace until she goes.
You know what? I've realised Elizabeth is a massive hypocrite. She's like, let me be a hoe, but nobody else can be one. Like, let me be a hoe and get away with it. And everybody else, like, ooh, everybody else should be a prude. Anyway, Mr. Kennett. Who's Mr. Kennett?
Bennett.
Oh, Mr. Bennett.
And I've just said we shall have no peace until she
No.
goes.
It's we shall have no peace until she goes. Peace? Is that all you care about? Colonel Forster is a sensible man and will keep her out of any real mischief, and she is far too poor to be an object of prey to anyone.
It's a terrible thing to say about your daughter.
Father, it's dangerous. I'm sure the officers will find women better worth their while. Let us hope, in fact, that her stay in Brighton will teach her her own insignificance. At any rate, she can hardly grow any worse without authorizing us to lock her up for the rest of her life. No wonder our family is treated with contempt. Well, at least the house will be quieter. I don't wish to be stuck with such a foolish family any longer. With your constant talk of men and marriages, surely there is more to life. That's you.
Oh, Lizzie, dear, You would be
No,
very well.
you need to differentiate Mrs. Gardner from Mrs. Bennett.
I don't know who she is.
Well, you can put like a northern accent.
I can't do that.
Yes, you can. Come on,
Lizzie,
Lizzie.
dear?
Lizzie.
Lizzie. You'll have to coach me for every single word, because I can't do it.
Go on. Lizzie, dear.
Lizzie, dear? I can't do it.
Lizzie, dear, you would be very welcome
You'll be very welcome
to accompany us.
to accompany us. To accompany us. I can't do it.
Now you have to do Mr. Gardner. he's journey.
Oh yes. We plan to journey through the Peak District. You'd be most welcome.
Oh, the glories of nature. What are men compared to rocks and mountains?
Believe me, men are either eaten up with arrogance or stupidity, and if they're amiable, they're so easily led that they have no minds of their own whatsoever. Okay, this is Tatian. This is Tatian. This is literally what Andrew Tate says, that people do not have minds of their own. Amazing. Wow. Okay. Go on, Northerner.
Maybe I'll do a Cockney.
Okay.
I care. We love. I'd say strongly of bitterness.
No, that's pretty good. No, they bring nothing but heartache. I saw Mr. Darcy when I was in Rosings.
Well, did you not tell her? Why did you not tell me? Did he mention Mr. Bingley?
No, he did not.
He's been typing the waters up.
Oh, Derbyshire is like Birmingham, basically. So we should say this in a Brummie accent, this bit of narration.
I can't do that either.
I can do that. A ravishing landscape of savage and romantic beauty, scudding clouds, mountains, wild rocky outcrops. This is like Jess Phillips, by the way. Elizabeth is walking freely. The wind is in her hair. As she nears the peak of a promontory, Mr. and Mrs. Gardner are below, making their way towards her. They smile at her. She strides off, determined to reach the very top. When she gets there, she stands with her arms outstretched, her head back, laughing into the wind. Sorry, her head back, laughing into the wind. The view is magnificent. She breathes deeply. Well, there are no lines in this bit. 83. He's been taking the waters at Buxton. Hasn't done him a jot of good. No, these are Brummies. He's been taking the waters at Buxton. Hasn't done him a jot of good. But we've had a fine time, haven't we, dear? We've visited Chatsworth, Dovedale, Pemberley. No, that's you.
Oh, Pemberley?
No, you Cockney.
I can't say Pemberley.
Yeah. Just 2 miles from here. Close, very close. Okay.
One of the best
That's me.
Okay, sorry.
One of the best houses one of the best houses in the country. That's you.
Oh. Aren't you acquainted with the owner, Mr. Darcy?
That's you again.
All right.
Female.
Well, we shall go there tomorrow, Lizzie.
I would rather stay here.
Stay here. Oh, you become Australian.
But it is kind of Australian.
Stay here. Stay here.
I must own that I'm tired of great houses, all those carpets and curtains.
But you like Chatsworth.
If it is anything like Mr. Darcy, I'm sure I will not be able to bear it.
Come, Lizzie.
The ground alone worth a visit. That's you again.
Okay. Let's not make a fuss. If the girl doesn't want to go there, there's little point in persuading her.
I hear that Pemberley is not far from here. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yes. Yes, madam.
You see something of the owner, do you, in town?
Not for some months, madam, for he's still in London, I believe. I'm so glad you changed your mind.
That's your bit again.
Imagine being mistress of all this. It is as big as all Cheapside.
Oh wait, so Pemberley is a fictional country estate owned by Fitzwilliam Darcy, the male protagonist in Jane Austen's 1813 novel Pride and Prejudice. It is located near the fictional town of Lambton and believed to be somewhat based on Lyme Park, south of Disley in Cheshire. Okay, so I need to put more of a northerner, like Manchester. Where are we? Sorry.
90?
90.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it your bit or mine?
Mrs. Gardner. Keep up. They walk through room after amazing room. And then there's a Mrs. Reynolds.
Oh, I'll do that. This is my master, Mr. Darcy.
A handsome face. Lizzie, is it a true likeness of him?
Does this young lady know Mr. Darcy? Only a little. And do you not think him handsome, man? Do you not think him a handsome man, miss? Yes, I suppose he is. And this is his sister, Miss Georgiana. Georgia, what?
Georgiana, I think it's typo.
Is it Georgina or Georgiana? Wait.
Georgiana.
Okay.
The S should be an A.
Okay. Frig, I've lost it now. Okay, no, it's here. And this is his sister, Miss Georgiana. She plays and sings all day long. We realise that in the distance we have heard music. And what? No, that wasn't a narration. That was narration, wasn't it?
Yes, that was narration, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'll do that again. And this is his sister, Miss Georgiana. She plays and sings all day long. They are at home. Miss Darcy is always down for the summer. Mr. Darcy is due here tomorrow. That's you.
Oh. Is your master much at Pemberley?
Not as much as I would wish, sir, for he dearly loves it here.
Oh, yes. If he should marry, you might see more of him.
Yes, madam, but I do not know when that will be. I do know that a lady who is good enough for him. Sorry, no. I do not know a lady who is good enough for him.
What do you mean?
I've known Mr. Darcy since he was a boy. He was always a kind and generous person. Even then, not everyone can see it because he does not make a meal of it like a lot of young men nowadays. But he is the most sweet-tempered and kind-hearted man I've known.
Miss Bennet.
I thought you were in London.
No, I'm not.
No.
I came here a day early. We wouldn't have come. I'm not quite sure.
I'm visiting Derbyshire with my uncle and aunt.
And are you having a pleasant trip?
Very pleasant. Tomorrow we go to Matlock.
Tomorrow? Are you staying at Lambton?
Yes, at the Rose and Crown. I'm so sorry to intrude. They said the house was open for visitors. I had no idea.
May I see you to the village?
Oh no, I'm very fond of walking.
Yes.
Goodbye, Mr. Darcy.
I shall send my carriage at noon. I think Mrs. Gardner, is that you or me? I don't know.
Are you?
Lizzie, I've just met Mr. Darcy. I've seen him. He's asked us to dine with him tomorrow. He was very civil, was he not? Very civil. Not at all like you painted him.
To dine with him?
There's something pleasing about his mouth when he speaks. You don't mind delaying our journey for another day? Sorry, such a mess. He particularly wishes you to meet his sister.
His sister?
My sister, Miss Darcy.
Miss Elizabeth, my brother has told me so much about you. I feel as if we are friends already. What a beautiful instrument. My brother gave it to me. He shouldn't have.
Yes, I should.
Oh, very well then.
She's easily persuaded, is she not?
Okay. What a surprise, Miss Bennet, to see you in Derbyshire. Your brother as well, I trust? Very well. He hopes to come here soon. Wait, I forgot who Georgiana was.
The sister
the sister. Sorry. Pemberley has a special attraction for him. Yes, the library is particularly splendid, is it not? And how is your family, Miss Bennet? Someone told me the militia removed from Merton or Meryton.
It says Meryton to me.
Okay. Someone told me the militia are removed from Meryton.
Your uncle is very fond of fishing, I hear.
Yes, very.
Can you persuade him to borrow a rod this afternoon?
What?
For the lake here is very well stocked, and its occupants left in peace far, far too long.
In 6 months, I've never seen anyone so altered. How brown and coarse she's become.
I perceive no alteration except she is rather tanned. Hardly a miraculous consequence of travelling in the summer.
This is Darcy being Morrison, so flipping, mechanistic. Like, obviously she's not, because she's got a tan. I remember when we first knew her in Hertfordshire, you said she a beauty. I would have as soon called her mother a wit.
You must have misheard, Caroline. Even had I thought it, I would have coached it with a little more finesse.
It's so beautiful up here. I will be sorry to leave. You have been the most gracious host. I'm sure my aunt and uncle will talk of nothing else for days.
I have recently thought a great deal about how I appear and act to others.
It does your credit, sir.
What a capital fellow.
We need
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Darcy.
wait, I've got an Andrew Tate voice AI generator. We need to enter some Mr. Darcy dialogues.
Mm-hmm.
Text to speech. Okay, this I cannot do it. I have no clue. Oh, sorry, where are we? 97, is it?
Yeah. Yes. You can't do an imitation of Andrew Tate?
Well, Andrew Tate would be Mr. Darcy here, so we'll have to switch roles. Should we go back to 70 then? You can be Elizabeth now.
No.
Or should we just carry on and I'll
Yeah,
be
we
Mr.
just carry
Darcy?
on, but switch roles.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Mhm.
Okay, so you're Darcy, and you say Miss Elizabeth.
Okay, let me just practice. One second. Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth.
It is the most dreadful news. Lydia has run away with Mr. Wickham. They are gone together from Brighton to Lord knows where. She has no money, no connections. I fear she's lost forever.
Wait, can you pretend Mr. Wickham is Morrison now? Can you change the name? Read that again, but with Mr. Morrison.
It is the most dreadful news.
Wait. Let me do Andrew Tate as Darcy. Okay, so I'm Mr. Tate. Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth.
It is the most dreadful news. Lydia has run away with Morrison. They're gone together from Brighton to Lord knows where. She has no money, no connections. I fear she is lost forever.
This is my fault. If only I had exposed Morrison when I should.
No, this is my fault. I might have prevented all of it by merely being open with my sisters rather than too proud with my knowledge. Mr. and Mrs. Gardner look...
Has anything been done to recover her?
Father has gone to London, but I know very well that nothing can be done. We have not the smallest hope.
Would to heaven that anything could be said or done on my part that could offer consolation.
He changed his accent so much.
Yeah, he does change his accent though. It's like a mixture of things. Okay. Would to heaven that anything could be said or done on my part that could offer consolation to distress.
Sir, I think it is too late.
I'm afraid that we must go at once. I will join Mr. Bennet and find Lydia before she ruins the family forever. I'm very sorry. This is grave indeed. I will leave you. Goodbye.
So terrible now. Why did the Foresters let her out of their sight? I always said they were unfit to have charge of her.
And now she's... Okay, go on. You can be all the sisters. Go on.
Okay. And you're going to be Mrs. Bennet?
Yeah.
Okay. And now she's ruined.
You are all ruined! Who will take you now with a fallen sister? Poor Mr. Bennet will have to go fight the perfidious Morrison and then be killed.
He hasn't found him yet, Mamma.
and the Collins will turn us out before he's cold in his grave.
Do not be alarmed, Mamma. Our uncle's helping in the search.
Lydia must know what this will do to my nerves. Such flutterings and spasms all over me. Excuse me, they ignore him. Sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm looking for. I'm looking for Mr. Morrison. We are ruined! Ruined!
How long is this going to go on for?
Do you know when you're Lizzie, you should just be yourself.
Okay. Good idea.
Go on. Because she's a bit sort of sarcastic and just, you know.
Mm-hmm. Don't be too harsh. This is hard for all of us.
No, read Elizabeth again. How long?
Oh, how long is this going to go on for? Don't be too harsh. This is all hard for all of us. I can't bear not hearing anything. Look, it's Papa. Who is to fight Morrison and make him marry Lydia? Now you've come home.
For God's sake, let me be. Lizzie, help me with my boots.
You suppose them to be still in London?
Where else could they be so well concealed?
Oh, Father, I'm so sorry.
It's been my doing.
You mustn't be too severe on yourself.
No, Lizzie, let me once in my life feel how much I have been to blame. I'm not afraid of being overpowered by the experience. It will pass away soon enough.
It's to Daddy. It's in Uncle's writing.
As it is addressed to me. He's found them.
Are they married?
Just wait, I can't make out his script.
Give it to me.
Normal voice.
Are they married? They will be if Father will settle £100 a year on her. That is Morrison's condition. £100? You will agree to this, Father?
Of course I will agree. But how much your uncle has laid on this wretched man already is anybody's guess.
What do you mean, Father?
No man in his senses would marry Lydia on so slight a temptation as 100 a year.
Oh, I see. See what?
Your uncle is very generous.
Do you think it is a large... Do you think it a large sum?
Morrison's a fool if he takes her for less than £10,000. I should be sorry to think so ill of him in the very beginning of our relationship.
10,000? Heaven forbid.
Lydia, that's me now.
Yeah.
Lydia married and at 16 too? Ring the bell, Kitty. I must put on my things and tell Lady Lucas. Oh, to her face, and tell the servants that they will have a bowl of punch.
We should thank our uncle, Mamma.
And so he should help. He's much richer than us, and he hasn't got any children.
How can you talk like that?
A daughter married.
Is that all you think about?
Mrs. Morrison, how well it sounds.
You don't know what he's like.
Now, where will they live? A Purvis Lodge might do. Ashworth is vacant, of course, but it's too far off. I couldn't bear to have her 10 miles from me. Before you take any of these houses, Mrs. Bennet, let us be clear. Into one house she will never be welcome.
Jane, I take your place now, and you must go lower, for I am the married woman. You must all go to Brighton, for that is the place to get husbands. I hope you have half my good luck. Lydia.
I've been enlisted in a regiment in the north of London, sir. I need to do a Morrison impression, actually. I've been enlisted in a regiment in the north of London, sir.
I'm glad to hear it.
Near Newcastle. We shall travel there next week.
Can I come and stay with you?
That is out of the question.
Well, Monday morning came and I was in such a fuss. I don't want to hear. There was my aunt preaching and talking away just as if she was reading a sermon. She was horrid, unpleasant. Can't you understand why? But I didn't hear a word because I was thinking of my dear Morrison. I longed to know whether he would be married in his blue coat. The north of England, I believe, boasts some spectacular scenery. And then my uncle was called away from the church on business, and I thought, who is to be our best man if he doesn't come back? Luckily, he did come back, or I would have had to ask Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy? I forgot I shouldn't have said a word. Mr. Darcy was at your wedding? He was the one that discovered us. He knew where to find Wickham, you see. Morrison, you see. But don't tell anyone. He told me not to tell.
Okay, I'm bored now.
Okay. It was getting a bit demanding, really.
So you're tired?
I think we had fun, and you read very well.
I enjoyed myself, and you obviously read very well as well. And you were very in character. You were just like Claire Cole.
Well, I think it kind of, I don't know, blows away the cobwebs, doing the sort of thing.
What cobwebs?
Oh, I mean, doing something different for a change, not talking politics.
We've been talking about Pride and Prejudice for the last 2 weeks.
Well, I think that was a particularly good idea of yours. But just doing something cultural.
Mm. So, did this experience live up to what you were planning to do with reading out Mr. Darcy?
Well, yes. But I guess the exciting bit was, well, very, very short. If it was exciting at all, the rejection of the proposal thing. But then it wasn't even written in the novel. But yeah, well, I had fun.
Okay. Well, do you have anyone else who can, who is happy to read out loud and do this whole thing with us?
I actually don't know anyone who likes this sort of thing. Very few people are into amateur dramatics in my circle, online as well as.
Yeah, but I reckon Vincent Bruno would be good. He's just feeling a bit shy. But other than that, I reckon he seems quite theatrical.
Yeah, he certainly can. Well, I could ask him again for the fun of it.
He could play Caroline Bingley.
I mean, he does read on his own streams because he basically reads the things he needs to read aloud because he says that's the only way to make himself read it because he won't read it, on his own silently. So he reads a whole bunch of stuff and people actually complain about how badly he reads it. But that's, he's just reading, academic text and that sort of thing. But yeah, I suppose he could be encouraged to play one of the sisters. He'd have to play a female character, wouldn't he?
I mean, we could try and give him Mr. Darcy and see how it goes.
That would be fun. I'll mention it to him.
Well, do you want to talk about anything else now, or you're kind of tired? How do you feel about Black Farmer?
Well, I didn't watch I knew you were tweeting about it, but I hadn't viewed any of the videos, so I can't really comment. Why do you dislike him, this Black Farmer?
He's just annoying.
What was he saying in those videos that he found so annoying?
Well, in those videos, he was just being annoying because he was just doing his own little self-promotion stuff. But he's become quite famous for crying about, diversity in women's football on Sky News. So he's a Black Farmer. He's got his own product range. He's got some Black Farmer sausage. That's what it's called. And he's actually connected to the Tory party, interestingly enough. One of the children of the Windrush and all that sort of generation.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still very sort of SJW in the sense that he's crying about women. He's crying about the lack of diversity in women's football, like WTF.
Why? I mean, isn't it bad enough that so many women are playing football?
Well, it just shows how autistic some of these people are. That they think, oh, look, I'm going to get a media gig, and this will be a nice opportunity for some more self promotion. But actually, it kind of backfired on him. But now, you've got a couple of sort of GB News presenter types who are now defending him, even though like his sort of opinion is very like it's not really liked by the people on the right, but some of the GB News news lot, are kind of protecting him because he is a Tory. He's a Tory donor, Tory party donor. So
right. Mm.
So again, like the ideas and stuff doesn't really matter to them. It's just, oh, wow, like we're part of one cult. Let's you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Snooze.
Mm. But I mean he's so unusual anyway that
and he's just his Twitter is just full of. I mean he's kind of like you, in that he sort of interviews random people for his podcast, but he interviews random celebrities like who are crying about being bullied by women when they were at school and then they became gay.
But they're quite random, or does he choose them for anything?
Well, I guess they're random in the sense that they're not that famous,
right?
But you would know them, like you would have seen that. Who's that guy in his? Let me have a look. So if you just go to his Twitter feed, actually have a look now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Black Farmer.
I've sent Hedgehog the link.
To what?
To this stream.
Oh, okay.
Did you say anything much? I kind of half lit. Well, I fell asleep very quickly. Even though I tried to listen last night.
Oh, but I thought
you were when I joined to listen.
I thought you were talking about you sent Hedgehog the link to this stream.
Yes. And then I was talking about the space that you guys were on last night, and I didn't really hear.
You were just in listener mode.
I fell asleep very soon after I joined. So.
Well, do you feel a sense of lots of things? I mean, maybe Hedgehog can give you a summary.
Mm-hmm.
You've been nothing. Do you feel intellectually satisfied after this sort of, or are you raring to go? Are you haven't reached your sort of eureka moment yet today?
No, I guess I am reasonably satisfied. if I were well, I suppose I could go on about my particular interpretation of secular Quranism, that which insists on licensed brothels, which Carol and I have fallen out about.
Right.
But
Well,
I'm okay with that.
I'm sure. I'm sure that if you were to instate your version of secular Quranism, you Carol would just instantly become a brothel owner. I think she seems like that kind of person.
I think she's taking a principled stance about it, and genuinely saying, oh, that it's never been allowed. And I found her the Wikipedia entry about ambiguous verses, which obviously 2433 comes under. But anyway, she's adamant about that. But it's not like it matters, because obviously whatever interpretation they will use is far far away from what we are now, and what right now we're just agreeing on the principle that the Americans should adopt it.
Sure. Well, you can have a look at the DM that I just sent you. I sent it from my Gazelle Spaces account, so it might be in your unseen sort of inbox.
Yes, the black farmer.
Yeah, so that's the sort of celebrities he interviews. I don't know if you know this guy, Craig Revel Hallwood. You must have seen him in like Strictly Come Dancing or something like that. I don't know, some reality, some talent show.
Right. No, I don't know about these things, but okay. Yeah, I mean, listening to Matthew Goodwin, makes you think that nobody really wants to talk about principles. So I guess they'll never solve their problem about the nature and purpose of principles, for which you will be able to distinguish yourself from others who don't share your principles, which is the whole point of having different belief systems.
Is
I know
Hedgehog
you're
coming?
yawning. I don't know. He may not come. In which case you might not want to stay, unless you have something more to say. But I have sent him the link. Maybe you can send him the link to yourself.
My own home, my own home, my own home, my own home. Have you heard the song?
No, what's that about?
It's called My Own Home. It's from The Jungle Book. It's another Disney song, and it's sung by a lady called Darlene Carr. And it's so you know how people compare different Disney princesses or Disney heroines and say, well, ooh, who's your favorite? And someone says Cinderella, somebody says Princess Jasmine from Aladdin, somebody says Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And Morrison, he really liked Shanti Priya from The Jungle Book.
Mm-hmm.
So she sings this song. Mm-hmm. Do you want to play that on your stream? It'll be quite nice, honestly. It'll be nicer than the way that I sang it just now.
Well, okay, I'm just telling you that I get copyright strikes when we do things like that. So it means that the whole thing will be out of commission. We have 4 people watching.
Right. How do you know that?
Because that's what happens on YouTube and Facebook too. So they say your video is being withheld, blocked in 124 countries.
Okay, well I'll sing it then.
Okay.
My own home, my own home, my own home, my own home. Father's hunting in the forest, mother's cooking in the home. I must go to fetch the water till the day that I am grown. Till I'm grown, till I'm grown, till I'm grown, till I'm grown. Then I will have a handsome husband and a daughter of my own, and I'll send her to fetch the water. I'll be cooking in the home. That's it.
Very good. A haunting song.
Yeah, it's really sweet because Shanti Priya, she's this really cute little girl that Mowgli fancies, and he's just mesmerized by her, and she's wearing this sort of
Sorry.
no, she's wearing this sort of no, it's not a sari. I mean, I'm sure it symbolizes something a bit more Indian because it's purple in color, and I guess it's just sort of a village girl costume. It's quite revealing, to be honest. Sort of like a boob tube dress.
Okay.
No, but she's a really young girl. She's about like, I don't know how old Mowgli is meant to be. Mowgli age in Jungle Book. So he's only 5 years old. So yeah, she's about 4 to 6 years old. Maybe she's a year older than him.
Oh, do you want to tell us about the audition that you attended?
I don't know if I can.
Oh, okay.
Okay, one was an Islamic singing contest, and I was wearing a hijab and everything, and I made it to the sort of contest, like whatever you call them, the finals or whatever. But I did not win.
Did you think that the winner was better than you? Did you agree with the judge's decision?
Yeah, he was pretty good. But I mean, they really criticized me. Well, the sort of black judge did for a really long time.
Oh, but a man won it. No.
A man won, but there were lots of women who sang as well, individually or in groups.
Right.
And there are about 4 judges, and the female judge called me back after the event, like a week after, and I was just like, whatever, like I was just happy to participate. I guess I knew I wasn't going to win because they would obviously go for somebody who they could sort of capitalize on, and it would probably have to be a guy and somebody who can sing quite well in Arabic as well. Anyway, so the female judge called me back and she was like, "Oh, Sister Gazelle, Assalamu alaikum. I'm so sorry about what happened with you. I thought the judges were so rude, especially the one guy who's just going on and on and on. And I thought you were so amazing, so I'm interested in becoming your agent."
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'll think about it. And then she sent me some details of some other event where they wanted me to sing with some other dude. And this time it's not an Islamic song, but they wanted, but it's Something Inside So Strong.
How does that go?
Okay, well, I'll just give you the context. So it was some sort of pro-Palestine kind of event, and they wanted a more. They wanted to sing a sort of kind of pro-revolution or kind of pro-human rights sort of song, just to signal like the injustices against the Palestinians. But anyway, this song, it's sung by Labi Sifri, if I pronounced that right. I probably haven't. I pronounced this forename incorrectly.
Are you going to sing it for us?
Yeah, it goes, "The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become.
The further you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong.
And how did that go?
I didn't go. I was just
Oh.
like, what? I was like, what the hell? I want to attend some Free Palestine event singing some random African American civil rights song.
Well, you might have won that. You might have.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a competition. There it was just some charity function. Do you get it? It was like she was getting me my first gig.
Yeah. So have you been on your first gig?
No,
So you've never had a gig?
no, I've never had a gig. I'm just thinking, have I tried out for anything else? Oh yeah, at university. Oh my god, this was so embarrassing. So the Indian Society at university. I tried out for. I tried out for a sort of Indian talent contest sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the song I chose to dance to was, so this was a dance. I wasn't singing. So it was, the song was Nimbura, which means lemon or lime in Hindi. Yeah, so that's a famous dance number that Aishwarya Rai sort of dances to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that went completely terribly. That was awful because I remember I had this I had this sort of shalwar kameez kind of suit, but I didn't have the shalwar with me at university. Like I just got I just had my track pants basically, and I thought, oh, you can't really see them because the top was so long, but you could still see the track pants a bit, like you, as in the tracksuit bottoms.
Yes.
And it was just so cringe. And I went there and I was like, I was trying to, like, I was doing an essay, then I had to go to this audition thing, and then I cycled my way to the audition, and then then they just started playing the music, and it was so bad.
Was it just you dancing?
It was just me, and there were three judges, you know, undergrads or something, who kind of want to build their CV, so they're organizing this event. And I was just, I cringe at that. Actually, I don't really cringe. Like I'm kind of being performative when I say, oh, cringe, but I don't really care. Like, whatever, it happens.
So what sort of dancing was it? What kind of
Bollywood?
Right. And what
Just
was the song you were singing, you were dancing to?
Nimbura.
Can you sing that?
It's from the film Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam. So Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam in Hindi means, that's in Hindi. So in English it means, I have given my heart, my love.
Mm-hmm.
And the song is called Nimbura, which means lemon or lime. I mean, yeah. So I'll sing. I mean, it's not really a song that people sing. It's more of a dance song.
Right.
It's really fast, but yeah, I'll just give you a taster.
Thank you.
Okay, so it goes, hey, Nimbura, 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 oh, Nimbura, 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 अरे काचा काचा छोटा छोटा नींबूड़ा लाए दो. So that means lemon, 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 small and raw, get me a lemon.
What's going on about lemons?
Yeah, because if you watch it, because obviously you can't play it here, but once you watch the video, you'll understand. It's a really beautiful song. But then you don't really enjoy Bollywood. I I don't know. I think you will
I
like
thought
this
you
one.
sang it quite well. I mean, you got all the the Hindi
Yeah,
intonation.
I speak Hindi and or Urdu very well. Yeah, so अरे काचा काचा छोटा छोटा निम्बुड़ा लाए दो लाए दो अरे लाए दो hey get me निम्बुड़ा लाए दो get me a lemon जा खेत सड़िया ला निम्बुड़ा लाए दो go get a green lemon from the farm.
Right.
And then you have like more of this sort of nibra, nibra, nibra. It just keeps going and it's quite fast. And then one of the verses is like दीवानों की बुरी नजर से बचना हो तो सुन लो. So from the evil eyes of crazy lovers, if you want to escape them, then listen. Like listen to me so you can escape the evil eyes of crazy lovers. And then those two lines repeat. So दीवानों की बुरी नजर से बचना हो तो सुन लो अरे खट्टा खट्टो नींबू तेज छुरी से सर पे काटो, which means so take a sour lemon and cut its head with a sharp knife. फिर छोटा छोटा नींबूड़ा क्या जादू करेगा देखो. So she's saying, then see what the magic that small lemon does. All of this poetry is just about this lemon, about how it's going to guard you from the evil eye. So it's a superstitious sort of song, but the poetry is really good. Obviously, the English translation doesn't do much justice, but I think if you watch Aishwarya Rai in this song, and it's a great movie. It's a movie about sacrifice, and what true love is. So it's a movie from 1999. It's got Aishwarya Rai, Salman Khan, Ajay Devgan. Aishwarya Rai is playing a character called Nandini. Salman Khan is playing a character called Samir, and he's half Italian in this. And Ajay Devgan is playing Vanraj. So, Samir falls in love with Nandini. He's just some kind of guy who, okay, so Nandini's father is a very sort of famous classical singer in India, in Gujarat. So Samir comes over to Gujarat. Samir, this half Italian guy, half Italian, half Indian guy, comes over to Gujarat Rajasthan, to train under Nandini's father. However, Nandini's father, he wants Nandini to marry within the same sort of caste. He wants Nandini to marry, a professional, not some kind of, punk. And even though he's very much into classical music, it's an art for him, and it's very devotional for him. Whereas for Samir, he just wants to train under some classical guru and then go back to Italy and do his thing as a kind of wannabe superstar, wannabe singer. So anyway, Nandini's parents aren't having it, but they have this whirlwind of a romance, and they really do fall in love. It's really passionate. They I think either they do have sex or they nearly have sex, which is a really big deal in that culture for Nandini. But yeah, so they have a very passionate sort of romance. And then Nandini's father finds out, and he's like, no way am I having you get married to Samir. So he tells Samir to just get lost. And he sees Samir as a traitor because he's betrayed Nandini's father. He's supposed to be there as a student, but he's there kind of acting like a sort of playboy, playing around with his daughter. So he tells Samir to get lost. Samir goes back to Italy, and Nandini is devastated. Nandini then
Oh. Oh, we seem to have lost Gazelle. She dropped out in mid-word. Let us hope she comes back quickly, because she was telling us a story. I think
Sorry,
hello again.
sorry, I accidentally left I just closed all the tabs by accident.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, Samir's gone. He's gone back to Italy. Nandini's really devastated, and then Nandini's father arranges her marriage um, to a guy called Vanraj, who's the same sort of background, probably the same caste, and just the same sort of culture. And he's very rich. He's kind of landed gentry type within Rajasthan. And actually, Vanraj falls in love with Nandini when she's dancing to this Nimbura song, the
And this
lemon
is the
song.
song that you were dancing.
Yeah. So Vanraj just falls in love with Nandini, and Nandini is still sort of passionate about Samir. She's still in love, and she's so sad that this could happen. But anyway, she has no clue that Vanraj has fallen in love with her. But yeah, okay. Then Vanraj sort of gets his parents to sort of we call it rishta in our culture.
What does that mean?
It's the marriage proposal.
Mhm.
So that rishta, that marriage proposal, the guy doesn't directly propose to the girl. It's the guy's family goes over to the girl's family's house, and it's done in a very formal manner. So anyway, so Vanraj is like, yeah, I want to get married to this girl. She's absolutely gorgeous. And he takes the rishta to Nandini's parents' house, and Nandini's dad is just like, yeah, 100%, she's getting married, and my daughter is going to get married to you. Anyway, so they have the wedding, and Nandini tells Vanraj on the wedding night that I do not love you, or I'm in love with somebody else. And Vanraj is heartbroken, and he's a very sort of manly man. He's not some sort of simp or whatever. But he loves Nandini so much, like it's a true love, that he says, okay, well, we'll go and search for Samir. I'll take you to your love because I love you, But he doesn't say it so explicitly. He just says, okay, I'll take you there. And he's still very angry during the whole process, but he has to do it because he's like Mr. Darcy. He's like Mr. Darcy. He's a kind of serious sort of person. Whereas Samir is more of a Mr. Wickham, if you think about it. He's more like, yeah, I want to be a singer. I'm going to Italy, and I want to learn some classical Indian songs from a guru in the middle of Rajasthan, and I want to just like have a fling with his daughter. Ooh, yeehaw, Obviously, like Mr. Wickham is a bad guy in Pride and Prejudice, but Samir is still a good guy at heart. But I guess if you have to think through this Mr. Darcy versus Mr. Wickham paradigm, then Samir is the Mr. Wickham, and Vanraj is the Mr. Darcy. Because in the beginning, she thinks Nandini thinks Vanraj is very sort of strict. I mean, the main thing is she's not in love with him. Like, even if he was the sweetest guy ever, and even if he looked like Samir or something, she still wouldn't be in love with him because she's in love with Samir. However, yeah, that he's very serious, like Mr. Darcy. He looks quite angry. He's very serious. Anyway, so yeah, they go all the way to Italy to find Samir. They kind of have to go through some rougher places in Europe, like Budapest and things like that, to get to Italy. So they get to Italy and they find Samir, and then it just hits Nandini that she sees Samir, and Samir is now like this big singer in Italy, or working in some opera house or something like that, and he's really passionate about music. He's a music producer, blah blah blah, and she's just not feeling it when she gets there. Like, she realizes the institution of marriage and how important that is in religious terms and spiritual terms, and even in terms of love. Like she starts believing in love after marriage, and she sees that, look at Van Raj. I misunderstood him. I just saw him as this serious guy, and there I was in love with Samir, who doesn't even care about me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fundamentally unserious. But Van Raj, like, he sacrificed something. He's such a high status sort of gentleman within the context of Rajasthani culture and society that he's happy to sacrifice some of that status and kind of cheapen himself by taking his wife to her lover and being this kind of cuck.
Mm-hmm.
And just, she falls in love with him at the end.
Oh.
She deeply falls in love with him, not just like, oh yeah, nice, yeah, we got married and like happily ever after. I choose you, Van Raj. You know, the emotions, the way that the film is, you know, what do you call it, cinematized or whatever, you know, all of these things are just amazing, and I would recommend you to watch it. I think you
Okay,
would
have you
like
got
it.
a link to the movie? Where?
Well, I've got do you know what? I'll send you the link to the Nimbura song, and I'm interested. I know you can't play that song out loud because it'll affect the all the copyright and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
you should just mute yourself, play it, and then, you know, in 3 to 4 minutes time, maybe just watch half of it and not even, you know, all of it, and just tell me how you feel.
Okay.
I'll send you the link on via DM.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Great choreography.
Yes, I think it was choreographed by the famous Saroj Khan,
Mm-hmm.
like one of the sort of premier choreographers of Bollywood.
Yeah, I'm only 1.5 minutes through it, but I'll certainly, you know, watch the rest of it. Yeah,
Yes.
I like the color of it too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's called Technicolor, I suppose.
So, and have you gotten to the lemon bit? Like, have you seen the lemon
No,
that she's
no,
holding? Oh, you'll get
no,
to that eventually in the
no.
video. So I'll send you a link to the Wikipedia link to the movie
So were you
as well.
dancing like this?
Oh god, I wasn't good. It's such a difficult dance,
Yeah,
and
it did look that hard to do.
and I would have looked absolutely like idiotic. I just know that I looked like an idiot. But that's fine, you know. I'm fine if I make a fool of myself once in a while.
So, well, I mean, she's wearing a sari, right? The woman in
Mm.
blue.
Well, it's not a sari. No, it's called a ghagra choli.
Uh-huh.
So it's a sort of skirt. The ghagra is the skirt, and the choli is the top. A choli is usually a top that's it shows your waist.
Yes, it's like a crop top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of translating it.
Yeah, I mean the dancing is fantastic.
Yeah, she's. This is why Aishwarya Rai is my favorite actress of all time, because she's such a she's got really good expressions. She's beautiful. Like she's been. Maybe you don't agree, and a lot of people don't agree, but she has
Yeah,
been
now that I
dubbed.
see her in action,
Yeah.
it's quite different to just seeing a picture of her.
Mm. Well, she was much more beautiful when she was younger. So this is a movie when she was like
She was
in her
younger.
sort of maybe late 20s.
Mhm.
But yeah, so yeah, she's been dubbed the most beautiful woman in the world. So I'm a fan of her beauty. I'm a fan of her talent when it comes to acting, and she's my favorite dancer in Bollywood for sure.
Mhm.
There are many dancers in Bollywood who can shake it. Like you can just look at the back dancers, for example, the ones who are dancing with her. They are professional dancers, but Aishwarya Rai is a cut above. Usually, what you have is a Bollywood actress will be dancing, but you will see that actually the back dancers are sort of a bit better than the actress herself. So Bollywood's top dancers are Aishwarya Rai and Madhuri Dixit.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's that.
Yeah, the very very what's the word athletic dancers.
Yeah. So she's trained in Bharatanatyam, which is one of the classical dance forms, Indian classical dance forms. So there are loads of Indian classical dance forms, but roughly they can be divided into 7 main ones.
Mhm.
And because those are the 7 main ones that are like written in the sort of Natya Shastra, which is their sort of dance manual, kind of ancient dance manual.
Mhm.
And so one of those dances is called Bharatanatyam, and that's very popular in Tamil Nadu. So that's in the south of India. Yeah, exactly. So someone's asking, can a woman really fall in love with a cuck? I doubt it. So this is just again this sort of dumb red pill versus blue pill sort of revisionism that people are doing in their heads. Like you need to watch the film to understand it, because Van Raj is not a cuck in the sense that, oh yeah, I want to watch my woman sleep with somebody, because that would be a caricature of him. Like that wouldn't even be a caricature of him. Actually, you couldn't even caricature him like that. The film is much more serious than one could think, because a lot of these online discussions about dating and the game and blah blah blah, they just make things very very unserious, and so there's not really much meaning or love involved in any of these discussions. However, if you watch the movie, you get a sort of deeper understanding of these things. But yeah, what was I saying about? Oh yeah, the Natya Shastra, the sort of 7 main dance forms. You've got Bharatnatyam, which is very popular in the south of India, in a state called Tamil Nadu. But just generally popular in southern India, actually. So Aishwarya Rai, she's a South Indian from the state of Mangalore.
Mhm.
Sorry, from the state of Karnataka, actually. So I've got that wrong. I think Mangalore is a city. Yeah, it's a city. Yeah, Mangalore is not to be confused with Bangalore. That's also a city.
Mhm.
That's a city in Andhra Pradesh, I think, or Telangana state. Is it? Let me check. Oh, it's in Karnataka as well. So where's Mangalore? yeah, they're both in Karnataka,
Mhm.
South Indian state. Okay, Mangalore and Bangalore are both in a state called Karnataka. So Aishwarya Rai, she comes from Karnataka. She's a Tulu-speaking Indian, but she can speak Tamil and some other South Indian languages, and she can obviously speak Hindi because she's a mainstream Bollywood actress. So what other dance forms are there? So Bharatanatyam is very kind of yeah, it's quite athletic. I've tried Bharatanatyam before, like I've tried classes, and I was so crap because I have really skinny arms and legs, so I really can't do what they were doing. Like you need to have a lot of leg strength to do Bharatanatyam.
Mhm.
Um,
So did you go to classes?
yeah, I
for
did. I did
that?
about two.
Just two?
Yeah, I gave up after two. It was really far away as well.
Right,
And I
right.
just wasn't feeling it. You know, like you want a dance form that you're kind of naturally good at. Because
Mhm.
I started doing, I did these classes at the age of like 23 or something. So it's not like I'm learning from the age of 11 where there's a lot of room for development in that dance form. Like I thought, wow, like I've got such long arms and I'm just overall skinny. Like, oh, Bharatanatyam would be perfect for me. But then I find out, oh no, you actually need to have really strong quads, and you know, you need to actually go to the gym for this
Right.
dance form. Yeah, so it's very precise, the dance form as well. It's not very flowy, like it's quite rigid.
Mhm. And
Um,
there's a lot of jumping, yeah?
yeah, there's a lot of jumping involved as well. Not too much jumping. It's not like you've got to do a sort of jump rope sort of jump. But sorry, not a jump rope jump, but what is it? What did you used to do at school? The when you have the sand and you jump, the long jump. Oh yeah, not the long jump sort of jump, but maybe like a skipping rope sort of jumping
Mhm.
around. Yeah, so that's Bharatanatyam, and then you've got six more. You've got Kathak. Kathak is really popular in North India.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was gonna mention that
mhm,
because I have seen that one.
mhm. And Kathak is quite similar to the dance of the Uyghurs, interestingly, and that might be because the Uyghurs are actually the origin of they're the originators of the Mughals. That's
Mhm.
where the Mughals came from. They came from Xinjiang originally. So they may have brought some sort of dance form with them. So it was obviously this is a dance form in ancient India, but when the Mughals came, there was an almost kind of Mughalification of Kathak. So the form that we know today, it's a slightly more Mughal form, which is why a lot of um, like look, I would say that generally speaking in Pakistan, a woman learning how to dance and stuff is frowned upon. However, the ones that do sort of do get to do it, they kind of learn Kathak because it just fits Pakistani and North Indian culture more.
Mhm.
And so this Kathak, so Kathak involves a lot of sort of stamping, I guess. You're using your feet a lot. Um, but you don't have to have terribly strong legs for it. It's just you need to have endurance. So you need to keep going.
Mhm.
A bit like tap dancing, I guess. Obviously, not as demanding as tap dancing again, because with tap dancing you've got a lot of and there's a lot of jumping, and you've got to wear special shoes. Whereas Kathak, you do it,
Bare feet.
yeah, exactly, bare feet.
Mhm.
Um, So yeah, Kathak is one of them, and a lot of Bollywood songs where you've got a woman wearing a sort of slight kind of veil over her head, and she's all dressed up with jewelry, and she's wearing this sort of um, pinafore dress kind of thing. That usually is, and she's dancing for a kind of male audience. That's her. That's Kathak.
Mhm.
That's the whole sort of attire you have when you do Kathak.
But
So
like a kind of stripper?
no, it's well, I guess it was associated with brothels and stuff, but even the brothels in at that time they were a bit kind of reserved. Like you didn't have people twerking. Like you they would have to be trained in a more high status form of dance, which is what Kathak is.
Right, because I remember that there's a verse in the Quran telling women not to stamp their feet, because they were wearing bangles and that was their way of attracting men.
Yeah.
So, which reminded me of cut up, because it was about, making noises with your feet.
Exactly. Yeah. So the noises that you make with the anklets are really important because they must be in sync with the music. So the anklets that a Kathak dancer wears is called a ghungroo, and they're very sort of thick with bells. I mean, I could send you a very famous Kathak routine that Madhuri Dixit did in the film Dil Se. Sorry, Dil To Pagal Hai. And this is another sort of love story, with a bit of heartbreak, triangle, love triangle. You've got Karishma Kapoor, Shah Rukh Khan, and Madhuri Dixit. Shah Rukh Khan loves Madhuri Dixit, but Karishma Kapoor loves Shah Rukh Khan, so there's the love triangle there. And they're all part of some sort of dance academy. So it's a very sort of dance-based movie, which most Bollywood movies are, but in this case, like, it is literally a film about a dance company or a performance artist. Okay, I will send you this. I don't know if you want to watch it now. You could watch it later, of course, if you
I
want
think
to.
it'd be fun to watch it. I think if it's Indian, it might not attract a copyright strike.
No, it will.
It
Even more.
will.
No, I don't know
Okay.
about even more, but um,
Okay.
I mean, I'll just send you this. So you can again just watch it quickly, like maybe 50 seconds or something. If you turn your mic off, and then you can give me a thingy.
Yeah.
I just sent you that.
Yes, I can see that would be quite satisfying. It's like, I don't know, playing the tambourine with your
I know
your feet.
you used to say that I was wearing some sort of bells on my feet as well. Remember, because you could hear my headphones jingle. Anyway, so this is a very modern take on it because obviously he's playing his drums, and then she's all like, "Oh, I've got my hair up in a ponytail, and I'm going to start doing the Kathak dance." However, I'm sure you already know what Kathak basically is, so it just gives added flavor, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, I could send you a more classical version. This is my favorite ever. This is from a movie called Devdas. And Devdas was directed by the same director who directed Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, which was the first movie I was talking about, the Nimbura one. And I think that you would love this movie. Because the director is excellent. I mean, he's just not good anymore, I don't think. He's called Sanjalila Bhansali, one of the greatest directors of Bollywood of all time. So I guess you could watch Kahe Chhede Mohe, this third song I've sent to you. But you could watch like not a couple of seconds, but maybe 30 seconds of that, and then come back to me.
Yes.
Now, by the way, this is really a brothel. Like this, whereas the first Kathak number was just Madhuri Dixit dancing at a kind of dance academy where it's normal to dance, and she's just having her fun, and you've got Shah Rukh Khan falling in love with her, I guess. He's playing the drums, but you know, with Kahe Chhed Mohe, which is in the film Devdas, this is about a brothel. So this is the one that is more important than the first one I shared with you, because this is what Kathak is quintessentially sort of associated with.
Yeah, she is quite beautiful.
Yeah, she's one of the most beautiful actresses of Bollywood, and I know that people in my family think she's the most beautiful. Like, I don't know, like Indians and Pakistanis have different sort of beauty standards. Like, everyone thinks that Pakistanis are more obsessed with fair skin and light eyes and things like that. But ironically, Aishwarya Rai, who's kind of light skinned and she obviously has green eyes, she's not considered the height of beauty in Pakistan. Like Madhuri Dixit is considered far more beautiful because, like, again, maybe I've said this in a previous space, but in Pakistan, like it's really important for a woman to have like really sort of sharp features, big almond eyes, and yeah. So there's more emphasis on like sharp features, I guess. Whereas in India, more sort of, I guess, more flatter faced women, like more cute looking women, they're considered more beautiful.
She does these things with her eyebrows, which is very cute.
Yeah.
Which I imagine, well, you can't really. It's hard to imitate, I would say.
I can't do it. No.
So
I've always tried to imitate it. Like a lot of people who watch this movie, they've tried to imitate this because it's
yes, it's very alluring.
I don't know. Are you watching this right now?
Yeah, I'm watching it now as I'm talking.
Yeah, but you can't even hear it. It's such a beautiful song.
Well, but I'm really looking at the dancing, aren't I?
Okay, well, no, you've got to listen to a bit of the song as well. I'm going to mute myself, and you can mute yourself as well.
Hello?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, I finished it. Yeah,
Okay.
very enjoyable.
And you'll love this movie. Another sort of very passionate romance. It's got Aishwarya Rai as well in it, so you'll get to see both the sort of the top dancers of Bollywood. And there's one song where they have a bit of a dance off as well. So yeah, Devdas is the name of the movie, and the name of the movie is actually the name of the main character, who is played by Shah Rukh Khan. So he plays Devdas. Short form of that would be Dev, and he falls in love with Parvati. Short form is Paro, who's played by Aishwarya Rai. And Devdas is from a very high status Bengali family, but he falls in love with a more sort of low status, a woman from a more low status family, I guess. They were neighbors, they were best friends when they were growing up. Devdas goes to study abroad for like 10 years, and then he comes back to India, and he falls in love with Parvati. He falls in love with Parul because she's so beautiful now.
Mm-hmm.
And Devdas, his father is not having it. No, you can't marry someone from a low status family. No way. They are sort of they're the Bennets. You're Darcy, and they're the Bennets. No way. They're cheap people. Anyway, so then what happens is Parvati, as in Aishwarya Rai, she gets married to somebody else. And Devdas goes insane, and he develops an alcohol addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And this alcohol dependence leads him to the brothel. And at the brothel, even though Devdas is still in love with his Parvati, somebody else falls in love with him at the brothel. So that's the courtesan, Chandramukhi, who's played by Madhuri Dixit. And that's the first sort of song she dances to for him.
I see. Hedgehog's
And
here. Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll finish the story, which is hello Hedgehog, by the way. Yeah, I'll finish the story that they fall. He never falls in love with Chandramukhi though. He's so much in a trance of kind of Paro, I guess, and he dies due to his alcohol addiction, and he dies at the gate of Paro's house because she's running to him. And then the gates close, and she's calling out to him. She's saying, Devdas, Devdas, I'm coming to see you. I'm coming, I'm coming. And the gates shut. And there you have Devdas lying on the floor, dead. And that's that. But, Chandramukhi, she shows... She shows another kind of love that's full of sacrifice, I guess, in the same way that Van Raj did. That she's in Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam. But obviously Van Raj gets his love, whereas Paro never gets her love from Devdas because he's so still in love with Paro. So Chandramukhi is just, she's unlucky in love, I guess. But she's still grateful that she found Devdas and she found someone to love, and she found a friend in Devdas eventually. Because in the beginning he's just like, oh God, you sort of courtesan, you slut, and after a while he develops a sort of bond with her, and she's looking after him while he's unable to recover from his alcohol addiction. So that's that. So that's the end of story. I think I'll stop with the Bollywood stuff now, and we'll guess we can give it over to Hedgehog now.
Hello, Hedgehog.
Oh, hello. I didn't expect. Well, I feel a bit put on the spot, I guess.
Have you watched any Bollywood?
No, I'm not really much of a kind of Bollywood connoisseur.
Yeah.
But basically, I have managed to catch up with your stream from the last half hour. I just skipped through it very quickly so that I wasn't just interrupting
Yes, we were just doing a read through of Pride and Prejudice, so you haven't missed much really. At the beginning, Gazelle was complaining about Matthew Goodwin and how useless his echo chamber is. I don't know if you agree.
Do you follow much Matthew Goodwin yourself, or were you just
I'm aware
as in?
of it.
I'm
I
curious
mean,
what
from
your take
years
is as well, to
ago.
be honest.
I mean, he sort of says vaguely right-wing things, but tries to keep in with the Guardian lot, and now he's kind of branching out into his own Substack echo chamber, and talking about creating a counterculture.
That was a perfect description, by the way.
I mean, you can't create a culture anyway without a revolution, because I mean, the culture is just whatever the law is, and whatever what the law is whatever the politics is. So, if you want to change the law, you have to change the system. So, anyway. Awkward silence.
Well, on my part, it's not awkward. I'm just tired of streaming with you for 2.5 hours. But yeah, I'm going to let Hedgehog take over if he wants to.
Okay.
Hedgehog, how are you finding this experience, being on a live stream as opposed to a space?
I mean, in practice, it's the same thing, right?
No, but are you
Previously, I had
using
no
your phone
idea.
or your computer?
I'm using my phone at the moment, so
Oh, okay, you'll love it once you start using your computer. Because
Why do you say?
yeah. Because the thing is, with spaces, you can only use them on your phone, right? You can't join it.
Mhm.
You can't talk on a space when you're on your computer. But I like this a lot because I don't have any Wi-Fi issues. I don't have to keep leaving and coming back. Like I'm connected with my Wi-Fi right now. So strangely, like when I'm on a space, my Wi-Fi is really awful and everything's very slow. But like I'm on a stream, which I would have thought just uses up more data, right?
Mhm.
Yet it's perfect.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, just as we were talking now, when I asked Claire the question, um, I then disconnected from the Wi-Fi for some reason. So it's so that my first 2 minutes.
Well, you can. Why don't you try and connect on your? Have you got your computer nearby or?
I have got my computer nearby, but I've just kind of moved away from my desk.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
it's just left it to fix. But yeah, no. You were discussing Matthew Goodwin, and I didn't hear Claire's answer. Is there like a
Oh,
short
Claire,
version?
you could give your summary again. It was pretty good.
Oh yes. Well, Matthew Goodwin seems to think he's on some kind of crusade to solve the problems of government, and is in the process of creating a counterculture without apparently realizing that culture is a product of law and politics. So unless you change the whole system, you won't be able to change the laws that influence your culture.
Sure. So I'm quite conflicted about Matthew Goodwin. I don't know the full Gazelle take on this, and I'm not. I mean, I think I kind of appreciate your summary. Um, but your summary is slightly deeper than Matthew Goodwin's assessment. Your summary is.
You're kind of fading in and out, Hedgehog.
Oh, can you not hear me?
Yes, I could, but you were, but now it's better. But maybe you were far from your mic or something, or you were walking around.
Oh no, I've just been sitting in the same spot.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay.
yeah, but yeah, no. Let me know if it kind of buffers a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. So my take is, I think I appreciate what he's trying to do. I think it's not super effective, but then sometimes I wonder if he is guilty of some of the things that I am guilty of, which is like I think his instincts are in the right place, yet something that I can't quite put my finger on. It's not quite coming together. And
Why do you feel that about
I,
yourself, though?
well, because
So you said that his heart is in the right place, his instincts or whatever are in the right place, but something is not quite coming together, and you can't put your finger on it. And you think the same way about yourself, is it?
well, not necessarily the same, but I wonder if well, you and Dixon picked me up on a few ideas yesterday, and we were going through a number of issues. And
Sorry, just speak up a little bit, or maybe hold your mic closer. It's not buffering or anything. It's just it becomes a bit sort of, we can't hear you that well. Like it becomes really quiet when you're speaking, and then it becomes loud
sure,
again. I'm guessing it's just you holding the mic or whatever close or not.
but my mic should be on my head because I'm on my headphones. So let me just see.
Are these wired headphones
They're wireless headphones.
or wireless? Then maybe hold the phone close. Oh,
Well, that's
you
what
know,
I, yeah.
in AirPods. Where's the mic?
Mhm. Um,
I don't
I
think
don't know
AirPods have
actually.
a mic. I think you still have to hold the phone closer.
Sure, I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
that's
keep doing that.
perfect.
Okay. I mean, yeah, as in my phone really hasn't moved relative to my mouth, like more than like a 5 centimeter kind of.
Well, it's fine now.
Sure. Okay. All right. Just cut me off whenever I kind of I fade out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely fine now.
Um.
Go ahead.
It's more that it's more. I guess it relates back to. I mean, without kind of self-doxing, it relates back to some of my writing, which is I'm trying to um work out how I think and work out how to communicate exactly how I think in a way that's kind of concise. And I think it's quite difficult because it's almost like you're trying to reinvent the wheel in some ways, right? Because that's kind of what everyone's guilty of, which is you want to come up with this kind of coherent narrative, and you want an audience, or you have an audience in Matthew's case, um, and sometimes you're worried that if you are taking too many ideas that have previously existed, people don't think they're that novel, and you're trying to use certain words that kind of conveys a sense of energy, a sense of change, a sense of this is different from what's come before. Like we're trying to do something different. It's not just. I presume he's wanting to. I presume Matthew Goodwin is trying to say what I'm trying to do here is like a re-energized, reformed way of tackling the woke and restructuring culture and like a different way of dealing with. I don't know how much he talks about the economy, but I assume it's interlinked, right? But he's also trying to not associate himself with the typical. He's trying to make himself high status compared to low status anti woke kind of commentary. I think that's my impression I'm getting, and obviously, um, if you're trying to essentially do something that is slightly orthogonal to what everyone else is doing, it's kind of difficult to communicate that message, and I think you can get quite entangled, right? Because I think he's trying to square a circle. He is trying to appeal to the typical kind of abbreviation, low status anti woke types, the kind of boomer audience that consumes GB News, the kind of angry online rights, kind of in the kind of teens and 20s and maybe even early 30s. But then he's trying to say, oh, listen to me because I'm this academic, I've got all these credentials, I would even, I've worked with like left wingers before, like with the, EU and Brexit or UK and EU kind of institute. Like he's worked with people like Anil Menon. So he's got the credential, he's got the trappings of power, so of influence. So he's like, okay, I've got all these academic credentials when I worked with kind of credible people. and I'm trying to create an audience that can unite what's the traditional crowd, but also maybe a more high status kind of mainstream conservative crowd. Or even what he's hoping to do is presumably he wants to target the kind of middle undefined center, the kind of apolitical or politically kind of not quite Labour, not quite Tory, kind of don't really care too much about politics types, but if they hear some woke issue abbreviations on the news, they get a little bit annoyed. So he's trying to basically say, look, all these people, you should listen to me because I'm trying to reframe the issues. And I get that's what I think he's trying to do. And so when you tried to pick me up on why do I kind of see small bits of myself in him, it's that I'm worried that
You might get yourself cancelled.
No, cancellation isn't the issue. Perhaps I am just another version of Matthew Goodwin, I guess.
Because you're walking a tightrope.
Yes, you're
No,
walking a tightrope. No.
But Hedgehog is saying something different. You're talking about cancellation, threat of cancellation, or that he's not saying that. He's just saying that
I'm not saying.
Yeah, you carry on. Like a really good analysis of Matthew Goodwin, by the way. But yeah, carry on.
So I think Matthew Goodwin essentially is trying to build a. I don't want to be. Yeah, I think he's trying to build a movement that essentially incorporates what's out there, but bring them under a single umbrella, and also attracts a new audience of people who may be receptive within conventional conservatives, and also a new kind of voting demographic. I mean, if to be crude and imprecise, we can say the kind of Labour to Tory switcher, right, in the 2019. And essentially trying to put all three groups of these people together is quite difficult. So in the end, you're trying to also say things that people have said before, but you also want to say something new, but then you're also not quite sure how to fashion it in case you alienate the other part of people. So you end up not saying very much at all, is a fear that I think he could be in danger of falling into, right?
And wasting his time and energy saying stuff people don't understand.
I don't know whether people don't understand. I think people get it, right? Because I think there's lots of different ways to look at it, right? Which is some people think, I mean, if you're kind of like on the conventional left, you look at Matthew Goodwin and you think he's some kind of guy who expresses, I'm finding the word. What's the phrase where you're trying to say something but you're implying something else? Dog whistle, right? So those on the kind of soft left or the left will consider him some kind of dog whistle kind of figure. Yet because he doesn't go the full way to, the extreme of the internet right, you will have the internet right say, hey, he doesn't really take his arguments to the logical conclusion, so why would we follow him anyway? So then he's left with the kind of audience that like regularly reads like Unheard or something, right? And so that's my fear of Matthew Goodwin, and not my fear, that's my critique. And so when I say I appreciate where he comes from, I don't think he comes from a terribly bad place. Now, obviously, you can say, or commentators online right want an audience, but that's a bit reductive. Everyone does want that anyway, so I'm not going to criticize him for kind of the conventional grift. But I would also say that he is not too far off what is required of like a reset on the British right of politics. Now, that will obviously differ to how you see politics, because you see it from a very set and defined vision. You have a very clear idea that's like of culture driving all these issues and how fundamentally your thesis is secular Quranism. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to suggest that if you take a more conventional right-wing view, then you do need a number of people from like the media, in politics, in academia, in lobbying, who have similar instincts to Matthew Goodwin. Not the same instincts, like, but kind of orthogonally on the white space. Like, people colloquially say our side of Twitter. Now that's a bit kind of broad strokes, but essentially, to do that, you do require people like him with the same kind of instincts, maybe a bit more extreme, maybe a bit less extreme, maybe a bit softer on one dimension compared to another dimension, to come together to kind of reset the public discourse. Now, it's obviously very comms discourse brained, but I think that's why I'm not anti Matthew Goodwin, because I think he is part of the puzzle, even if he's a very small part, and even if he's not going to get the traction that he wants. But then, why does it relate to when I started this saying I feared I'd become him, or I was merely a variation or variant of him?
Well, I think you're right,
Which is that
Hedgehog.
perhaps I am no different.
I enjoyed your introspection.
Yeah, sure.
I'm impressed.
But I
with
also
your
think
introspection, actually.
sure. And that's largely why I've kind of appeared on these spaces and kind of engage with people I don't usually talk with. Because if I were to just if I kind of engage in conventional politics, then the kind of people I engage with in my local association will be standard kind of slightly brain dead, like not brain dead because they're low IQ, but they're thinking about politics in very kind of, this is what the way it's always been done, so we'll do this.
They never discuss politics in political parties anyway. They're terrified
Well,
of discussing
it's
politics
like that
because they don't want to
Aaron-
fall out with each other.
Yeah, it's like that Aaron Bastani tweet that everything in the UK is politicized except for politics. I don't necessarily even agree with that, but it's an interesting way
So
of
I
looking at
think
it.
for some of these people, like
Mm.
they're kind of really happy. In fact, you could even obviously Crude, you can dump me into those kind of people as well, which is
Okay, just
kind of really
stop being humble now. Just diss people. Come
Right.
on, like, okay, lovely,
Right.
you're a hypocrite. So am I. Yeah, let's do it.
no. Okay, right. So essentially, they're happy. They're happy to be asked about politics in dinner parties with their normie friends, whether they're 20 years old or 30 years old or 50 or 60 or 70. But when they're among each other in their conventional circles, they're a bit like, oh, well, it's not the done thing to kind of debate politics here, right? And then, so that's one side of politics, right? And then you've got your online rights. And on the online right, it's actually different. It's exceptional posturing. It's like, can I come up with the next, like funny, critical, like sardonic, like critique of society kind of tweets that gets you traction, gets like a few hundred likes and like, I don't know, 20 retweets, and then like you get like another 150 followers on the online right. People think, he's very high IQ. Oh, that's such a high status kind of assessment, right? But in actual fact, is it just not a variation of, you're interested in politics?
Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll, is it? Yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Is that how you
Mr.
feel?
Jekyll.
Is that how you feel?
No.
Do you feel like you're living in two worlds, Hedgehog?
Well, there's more words. I haven't finished.
Yeah, go on.
So, and then like, so what was the original question to why I gave these two examples? Oh, what I've been trying to do with these spaces. No.
Yeah, and we were talking about Matthew Goodwin. Then you were talking about how politics is understood in different circles.
Got it, right? So, let me rephrase how I'm going about it. So essentially, these spaces for me and why I've engaged with this is that, like, okay, I'm going to push myself to engage with like a crowd that I'm used. Oh yeah, and obviously there's like the kind of Okay, right. So they're the only two main crowds. There are a few other kind of adjacents. Doesn't really matter, right? So what I've been trying to do is to kind of see. Maybe I've been trying to explore and understand in my mind. Essentially, I'm trying to think about what someone like Matthew Goodwin is doing, and thinking about how perhaps I would approach it if I was in Matthew Goodwin's position 10 years down the line, in my kind of position of kind of privileged academia, blah blah blah. And that's why I do have a fascination in some of the things he does. I haven't read much of his stuff, because like sometimes you know what someone's about to write if you hear enough of them doing lectures and interviews. You almost know exactly what they're trying to do. But it's almost like I'm interested to see, like in terms of the execution.
Well, he's
How
still
far
working
he
as an
has-
academic, isn't he, at the University of Kent?
I'm not. I'm not fully. I haven't followed because he's moved to a few different places. I think he was at UCL at one point.
He
So
was
I don't
quite a
think
good politics academic. I remember him from Sheffield.
Yeah, sure. I think he's become less of an academic right now, more of a.
More of a
Like
wannabe
he
Jordan
was saying,
Peterson post-academia grifter. Sorry, but
yes. Okay, sure. But I think he's slightly different to that Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson sees himself as some kind of savior, right? Jordan Peterson, when he talks about
yeah.
his
Well, did you listen to the space today?
which space?
The space that Matthew Goodwin did today.
No, I did not.
That's why we're talking about it, because on my Curious Gazelle account, I posted screenshots of the How to Build a Counterculture space hosted by Matthew Goodwin, and I was just posting cynical stuff, and there are 3 screenshots of that space. So it was an unrecorded space, but it just shows you who was kind of in that space, like that weirdo Robbie Travers and all of these, annoying. Free speech has become a real cult. I'm sorry to say, but even the people who were originally obsessed with it are not a part of it anymore, like Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever. Fucking hell. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. You were going to say that Matthew Goodwin is different to Jordan Peterson.
Yes, I think he's Matthew Goodwin. Jordan Peterson wants to be seen as this kind of prophet-like, Jesus-like figure. Because if you really look at his kind of underlying work, like if you focus more on his academic work and also on some of the lecture series he's done, right? He's fascinated by like kind of psychological / psychological kind of assessments of like biblical kind of stories, and he tries to kind of reframe that in the into the kind of context of the modern world. And I think he's almost sees himself as somebody who's kind of like saving humanity, mankind, and men, and also even women, like whatever, right? Whereas Matthew Goodwin wants to be seen as like a leader or the leader in kind of new or kind of a regenerated conservative thoughts in Britain, at least, right? He wants to be seen as the academic in Britain within accepted, civilized conservative circles. Whereas Jordan Peterson actually does not give a damn whether the Republican Party or the kind of what's the party in is it the Liberal Conservative Party in Canada? He doesn't care whether these parties or even the Conservative Party in England really care about him or want to platform him, because he knows he's bigger than that and he's got a massive online cult essentially. Whereas Matthew Goodwin's kind of focus is much more domestic and much more even practical compared to Jordan Peterson's. He's not trying to like circulate a certain message. I think he wants power and influence. That's my
Have you seen
assessment so
Claire's?
far.
Have you seen Claire's assessment in the? Can you see what it says on the screen?
Matthew Goodwin is
a charisma-free zone and is so beta. Most political activists are unable to contemplate breaching the taboos that I do every day. Okay, Claire. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. But I just can't be asked to be his fan.
Oh, sure. I'm not his fan. I'm just really curious.
I can't even be
how
asked to stick up for him because, like, in the space, he was literally acting like Jordan Peterson's PI. He was like, "So, when I met Jordan Peterson, he told me that my dick is so big, and then like 2 seconds later, so when I met Jordan Peterson, we had a private meeting. I know, 5 minutes later, so when I met Jordan Peterson, okay, we get it. You met Jordan Peterson. Congratulations."
Okay, sure, but like, as in, it's not surprising. Like, he's much younger than Jordan Peterson. He's kind of at the start of his grift. So compared to Jordan Peterson, he's like, whoa, my hero, right? And I've been guilty of that. Like when I've been.
Yeah, but he's not at the start of his
grip.
grift. He's been on the sort of Brexit train since.
Yeah, but like for him,
he was anti-Brexit obviously initially, but you know. When it happened, he was like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, I'm going to eat a piece of paper on TV to show everybody how great I am." Do you remember that?
I can't. I remember that. No.
That's what he's famous for, actually.
Oh, is it? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
My question to you is this: so you were on the space where he talks about like creating a new counterculture and I don't know, kind of heralding it. So what was his main points? If you could summarize.
I can't because I was only there for like literally 10 minutes and barely listening.
I got you. Fair enough.
But yeah, but the space wasn't recorded. I mean, oh God, do you know what they were just analysing free speech with lots of sort of consultant sort of buzzwords. So like, oh my God, it's so homogeneous the way the free speech has evolved into a circle of like this psychometric testing, and I was like, oh fucking hell, like, please. Like we've analysed it now. How much more like is there to analyze? I just don't know. Like they just want to carry on with the analysis of the analysis of the analysis with regards to free speech and then what's his name? Konstantin Kisin was like, we're living in an informational. We're living in a. Oh God, what was it? I might have to look up my tweets. What he said. Sorry about that. Just give me a second. You guys there still? Or am I just talking to myself?
I'm listening, yes.
I'm here, but I was muted. But the thing is, if you don't breach these taboos about all the things that people are too afraid now to mention, you won't. You'll just be wasting your time.
People aren't too afraid of mention. People are genuinely not afraid. I don't think anyone genuinely gets cancelled. I think people who think about these issues or people who over-exaggerate being cancelled are genuine, kind of your typical kind of boomer audience on TV news. Right?
The only real victim of cancel culture is that Batley school teacher who's still living in hiding, which just kills me inside every day.
That is actually crazy. Like you're right. The genuinely the only person who, yeah, for sure. I completely agree.
The one with the Charlie Hebdo magazine. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, this is the school teacher in. Is Batley in Yorkshire, by the way?
Well, somewhere up north.
Yeah,
I would also like to suggest that he is not actually cancelled. I'm going to just propose a theory. If that teacher wanted to grift, like he's only being cancelled because in his head he feels terrified, and that's a weakness of his character, right? I don't know the man, but I just know if he decides to show up to the 2 or 3 Mihaila schools that's now come up, so it's not just the one that's that bloody woman. What's her name?
Catherine Birbal Singh.
Yeah, it's not. There's now 3 of those schools now. If that teacher came forwards, went public, and went, "I have been cancelled. I refuse to be cancelled. I believe in good education for kids." Blah blah blah. One of those schools would take him in, right? And then he could probably get himself a nice podcast on some unheard platform or like TV News, where he's the school teacher that got cancelled and was in hiding for a year. Like if he decides tomorrow, that he is not going to cower to fear, he is not cancelled. He is only cancelled insofar as he has decided to go into hiding.
Yeah, so this is it. Hedgehog is the voice of reason. I agree with you. However, why is he doing that?
He's probably in fear. Like I think people can suddenly get really scared, I guess. Like if you are actually being threatened, your physical safety is being threatened, and you live in a place where like there are loads of austere, radical Pakistani Muslim men threatening to kill you, then obviously it feels very real, right? But if you look outside of, okay, my life isn't tied down to living in South Yorkshire, I can merely move to London, get myself some media grifts and work in a school and like get promoted to being deputy head at Mahila, which he probably could because he's got that platform, right? And you know what I mean, right? Because that school is basically, it's a school, but it's also like it's kind of like a staging platform for, Catherine Birbalsingh type people, right? And you can see it, right? So there are teachers who get interviewed on these schools, and they clearly love their job.
Yeah, but did she even defend the Batley school teacher? Because a lot of people who claim
she
to
might
be
have
on the
tweeted once or twice.
Do you think she did? Let me search.
I think
the tweet.
Very, very cursory. I'm surprised she hasn't made the effort to actually reach out and say, "Hi, like, would you like a job at my school?" Because if she was really a defender in the kind of education, if she's a defender of the education vision that she espouses, or if I was in her position, the first thing I would do as headmaster of a school would be to reach out to this teacher and be like, "Hey, like, I probably 10% of my teachers will leave each year. There's always a turnover. If you'd like to apply at the next academic year. And obviously I can't rig the process for you, but we want you to apply and please do it, essentially." And so I don't know if she's done that, but like that would be what I would feel.
No, it's she's refused to stand up for this teacher. Like she's not said anything.
Are you sure at all? That would surprise me a lot. Like,
no, it wouldn't surprise me. I think Douglas Murray has the right to criticize Islam, but most people are not into that. Like they don't have that privilege that Douglas Murray has. Do you know what I mean? And plus, look, her school. I mean, I may be wrong. I haven't looked through every single one of her tweets. I just can't find anything. I've just typed Miss_Snuffy, which is her username on Twitter, and then Batley teacher. I've got a lot of.
No, but she wouldn't have said that, right? I feel like maybe just Batley, and then maybe like hiding, or I don't know, or fear. I think she probably wouldn't tweet the phrase Batley. I don't know. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, all right. I'll do some googling afterwards, but I think it would, like, if I was in her position, or even if I was a politician, if I was an MP, like a senior backbench MP, I would just straight up offer that guy a job. I'd be like, at the next available vacancy, or I will literally look at current vacancies and speak to fellow MPs and be like, "Hey, offer that teacher the same salary as a researcher," or like that is on us that's like the duty of us on the right to make sure that people on our side who have been unjustly treated, not people who like got a bit bullied online, but people who've actually stood up for natural justice.
There seems to be more cancel culture on the right than even the left. I'm sorry to say, because at least if you're on the left, the things are clear. Like you just know what to say and what not to say. Well, obviously I'm going to get cancelled for this. Whereas with the right, it's like you all of these are sort of false pretenses, right? That you're working under. And then there's a lot of sort of deception that, oh yeah, well, we're free speech, and then somebody comes along and then says something that somebody else doesn't like. A lot of it is temperament, Dixon always says it's temperament, and I agree with him that sometimes when if you just don't like somebody, you're just not gonna care whether they've said something very politically correct or incorrect or whatever. Like,
Well, this is something I'm curious about, which is I've not done enough research on the left of politics, right? But I do wonder, like with all these people, like you mentioned Constantine, you mentioned Goodwin, you mentioned Farage, you mentioned all of these people on the right, and I think
Yeah.
there's an arrogance on the right. I think the problem with the right is that people who are right wing, maybe it's like it self-selects. They have a very high opinion of themselves. Right, even myself, right? You're asking me to have come up with these critical views of all these people, right? And so we're like naturally quite pugnacious, naturally like we believe we're high status, we believe we're right, we believe like we're on the pulse here. So actually, I don't even think it's as crass as we see these people as rivals, we as in they, but that these figures think they're better than all these other figures. And so they don't actually see them each other's of allies in the kind of in a kind of left wing kind of comrade like sense.
So they're all
And so,
backstabbers.
well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, yeah, I haven't quite found the best way to phrase it, but I think yeah. Like, I wouldn't say they're backstabbers, but they're like they're just very arrogant. They see themselves
self-serving.
as yeah, sure, yeah. As in, they see themselves as the vanguard. They see themselves that individual as I am this Führer, not the Führer, but like I am the great leader of this new right movement, and in their own way, but their own little bubbles, right?
Yeah.
Whereas someone like me, I think I'm humble enough to say I don't need to be in the forefront. I don't care about merely being the face of something. As like if I was engaged in politics in a kind of tangible sense, and I pursued my ambitions further, I'm very happy to see things that I want to see happen.
Would you waste people's
Without-
time, though?
Sorry?
Would you waste people's time advocating for
Um,
something that you know will never happen? Like democracy.
Yes, he will.
Yes. I mean...
What do you mean? You've got to be more specific here.
No, okay. It's my position that democracy is the problem, so I'm going to keep saying it, even though I know people will just freak out when they, because they don't want to be seen as going against democracy.
Yeah, but like you say, democracy is the problem, but like you've got clear examples, like in El Salvador, you've got clear examples, like obviously you can use Singapore, but it's not fully democratic. Well, but you've got like pseudo-democratic systems or democratic systems where authoritarian leaders or people who have a popular mandate take power and like execute with the power that comes with the office. So I'm not going to be so black-pilled to say democracy is the problem, because as soon as you kind of sink into these kind of generalizations, oh, democracy is the problem, then what's the point? Like, right? Do I go around advocating, well, democracy is the problem, or is all doomed? Is like Britain's doomed anyway, right? I don't think it's helpful. Politics, because there are tangible things you and I and people can do. If you were a councillor, Claire, in a local council, you could be an effective councillor and deliver effective change, right? Just by being competent. It doesn't matter whether like you believe democracy is like the most effective system. You have the fundamental belief, and in fact, that you can make real change, right? Like I know that if I was chair of the planning committee, I could tangibly reshape like houses that will be built in 5-10 years time because of approval that my committee makes, right? I know that. So to say that our democracy is a problem, there's no power anyway, like it's all a facade. I think it's just so like it's so kind of negative and almost like not grounded in reality. Because I think the reality is power does exist in the current system, and it's kind of a cope. It's kind of a cope that we want to kind of offload responsibility onto the system, when in actual fact we as the electorate and we as the popular public, we as the commentariat have willingly kind of enabled these politicians and willingly re-elected these politicians, or willingly not put our money where the mouth is and refuse to stand, right? And I think it's a weakness of like the people who kind of want to blame this stuff on the system. I'm not suggesting that you're doing it from a position of weakness. I think you're doing it because you have a grander narrative to present. But I fundamentally believe that if you had decided to become a councillor and stood for election and got elected, like you cannot fundamentally believe I, even as an elected councillor, would make no change. Like if you actually believe that,
but I mean, you're just a local politician, you know. I think you know. So what if you manage to, you know, the decline a little better than somebody else? If you're not saying what the problem is when you know what the problem is, you are wasting your own time as well as other people's. And if you just admit to yourself, okay, I don't want to breach that particular taboo, because I don't want to get cancelled. I mean, just admit it. You know, you'll feel better than sort of, you know, kind of trying to rationalize it, because this is the whole thing. Okay, I'm saying democracy is a problem, and you just you know you.
I'm saying embracing truth is the problem.
So you're saying let's tell more lies. Let's waste more time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
because I don't think the truth is liberating. I think the truth is actually the pure brute sort of truth is quite nihilistic and depressing. And actually, you're saying that.
So you'd rather turn away.
If you're saying that if Hedgehog embraces the truth, he'll get somewhere. But actually, no. Like, you've embraced the truth, and where have you got to with this stuff?
Okay, but you know, I'm not bothered.
Like, have you? No, I'm not. I'm not saying this in a mean way. What I'm saying is, have you changed the system by embracing the truth? No.
But you see, it all begins with people accepting there's something wrong. So you can't get around the fact of, you know, the necessary stage of people acknowledging that there's something wrong and agreeing on what it is, and then the solution. But if you're just going to, you know, be fucking around, not really addressing the issue because you don't want to get cancelled, then more things will go wrong, and it'll just be worse because you're wasting time and energy and weakening yourself as you ignore the problem. So, you know, it's up to you, but I'm saying the only way to solve the problem is to, well, analyze it, you know, the problem, and then
well, your analysis is flawed. I'm sorry, but the answer is not secular Quranism.
What's your solution then? You don't have a solution, so why don't you just acknowledge that you don't have a solution? You just think you have a right to veto.
I have acknowledged that on numerous occasions. I'm sorry that you did not write that down in your timestamps, but this time just make sure that you have a better interpretation of the things that I'm saying. So the timestamp.
Okay, so you're saying
at 3:08, Gazelle says that there is no solution.
Okay, so well, there's no need to talk about politics then. If
there is no solution because the problems are subjective, and there's a multiplicity of problems, so you can't solve everything.
What do you mean the problem is subjective?
It's subjective for a lot of, for example, if somebody's moaning, I'm sorry that I always bring up the gays, but it's just a good example to use here for the sake of thinking that if someone says that the problem is gay sex, but then a lot of people don't agree with that. So then what's the solution? Not to have gay sex, fine, okay, maybe that's a solution for some people, but for other people it's not. And that was a rubbish example. It was very crude, but I'm just putting it out there.
secular Quranism would not actually
The point of that
stop
example
they
was to
then
show
from
you. The
having
point of that
sex.
example was to
They
show
would be
you that
lowered in
Rob's not
status.
subjective.
They would be low. People can still shout
In a
with each
democracy,
other.
problems are subjective.
No, it's always subjective. If what you mean is people disagree about what the problem is, and then they'll disagree about what is necessary to solve the problem. Yes, I agree that people won't agree, but really there is well, you can climb above all these people by saying you have the solution, and then in the end, what the only way they can undermine you is to say I have a better solution, and then in the end you'll have to argue it out with the other person who claims they have a better solution. I mean, this is how problems are solved, through a hierarchy of decisions by whoever is prepared to make them. But people won't breach these taboos because
Claire.
that's what actually
Claire,
Tucker Carlson
I'm going to
said.
have to interrupt you. Right. Have you ever stood for council, like even in a local election, and have you ever been a councillor?
I don't want to be.
Right.
I was offered
Okay.
yes, I was invited to become a councillor. Almost the moment I walked into this Tory party meeting. But it was ridiculous. I mean, I knew why they were offering, because I seemed middle class and I'm not white, and they were going out of their way to find somebody not white and female to do the job. I mean, that's why you were invited too. It's like, oh, we're not hideously white, but it's a stupid reason.
Right. Okay. But how can you possibly make these sweeping comments about democracy if you yourself cannot actually? You don't have the lived experience of being in a local democracy or even in a national democracy as a elected representative. You can only make these sweeping claims as an outsider, right? As somebody who comments on the sidelines, who writes books, who's got a vision to sell. But politics is about the practical. Politics is about actual people's lives. Most people who are far less political than you and I, who don't care about ideology, who really don't give a damn.
I don't care about them. I don't care about them because they will never understand. They don't care to understand. And my point will be lost on clerks, the town clerk. That's what you want me to be, a competent administrator. This is nothing to do with political philosophy and all that. You're saying, yeah, the people who are, good cleaners and good caretakers and whatever, they don't require any imagination. And the people who actually say there's something wrong, you're not interested because you're thinking about your own self-interest. I'm sure you could be a perfectly good councillor, but that's in local politics. You're not going to change anybody's thinking doing these little things that you have to wait a long time for when you become chief planner or whatever. We're talking about what is really wrong, and I'm saying what's really wrong is nobody gets married, nobody gives a shit about these things, and nobody will talk about that. That is what I'm saying is wrong, and so local politics is completely irrelevant to the making of this main point.
Actually, I think it's very relevant. My point to you is a critique, not to when I brought up local democracy, it's merely an example that you have not engaged in that.
Do you know why this was so helpful? This was so good. This was so helpful.
Right, and not only that, you haven't really engaged. You have engaged in national politics in a fringe party, but you also it's like if you had been an MP. And then you write a book on specific issues of all these structural issues that you think are there and why you were not heard. Then maybe I get what you're saying. But
I
now
it
sounds like you're
MP before anybody will listen to me. I mean, but
you need a platform. You need a real platform.
Okay, you're wrong because what? No, I mean, if it's going to be, you have to be prime minister before we'll listen to whatever shit you want to say. Well, I mean,
no, but what I'm saying is, you need to pursue, but you need a real plan.
I do have a real plan.
No, but you need. Okay, right. I'm going to be very specific here. You need a real plan about you personally, how you are going to get yourself in a position of influence, of a platform where you can disseminate your ideas and be heard and deliver and execute.
Yes,
In a,
I
in a,
know.
in,
I know.
right,
That's my
right,
problem. Yes, that's my
right.
problem. And my problem is people refusing to breach that taboo. Okay, they won't even tell anybody there's nobody people even trust online. All these men complaining about this and that, they won't even say to another man whom they trust.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
there's nobody they trust.
Tate does not trust all men, and Tate has not spoken about secular Quranism. So what you gonna do now, bitch?
I've already acknowledged that the problem is that people don't really care about what the real solution is. They all think they have their own way. I think Tate is more likely to talk about secular Quranism than anyone else because he's a Muslim and he actually follows the principle.
Let's read Pride and Prejudice again. I'm really excited once again, and let's call Mr. Darcy Mr. Tate. Who? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. So you need to reach your eureka moment.
So, Hedgehog, you're saying I would know anything about politics because
No,
I'm
not saying that you don't know, right? Okay, I'm saying that it feels very much you're from the outside just chucking stones at the system, when actually,
Okay.
like, you are kind of ignoring the fact that you are someone endowed with, I'm talking about you in the kind of a broad sense of you as someone endowed with intelligence, with life experience, with blah blah blah. So you could actually take
There
action.
are ways of undermining what I'm trying to say, right? Other than saying you're not a prime minister or MP, you can say, well, this problem you're talking about, Claire, it doesn't exist, or your solution wouldn't solve it. That is what I expect of people, but they won't even engage. Okay, so that is my complaint. It's not that I don't mind, that I hate people challenging my ideas. They won't even talk about the subject. So I think that it's a deep psychological problem. If people can't ask the obvious, right, obvious next question. And they're not asking the obvious. There are ways of undermining anybody's claim, including mine, but I'm not seeing this kind of engagement. Other than how are you going to do it? Yes, of course I'm going to do it only through being platformed on the media, which there is a conspiracy to prevent me from doing, right? Because you would have thought, people who hate my ideas would want to hit pieces on me, but they're not even doing that. I've certainly made myself vulnerable to these media attacks, but nobody's interested. I think they've been instructed not to mention me at all. And anyway, today, there's this, stuff about, advice for young men. This is by Millennial Woes. And I say, well, the problem is they grow up in fatherless homes. And so, somebody attacks me and I said, well, saying, I'm a mother of four. I said, I hope you're married. And so the rejoinder is that, you're making the atmosphere uncomfortable. I'll have to remove you if you don't stop being rude to people who won't discuss whether being a married parent is should be the condition for reproductive rights. They won't discuss that. Anyway, I'll mute myself. Hello, Dixon. Everybody's muted.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure, brilliant. I came into the discussion a bit late. What's the topic now?
Hedgehog was saying that because I haven't been local councillor or MP, nobody would listen to what I'm saying.
Yes and no, right? Okay, right. I think you've reduced my point in a very kind of reductive way. Right. So we started the conversation discussing Matthew Goodwin and exactly where he fits in to today's kind of political landscape. And then we discussed how I relate to kind of how I assess and how I relate to Matthew Goodwin's assessment of like where he fits in the political landscape. And then Claire decided to challenge me on whether I will confront the truth, which is, in her terms, that democracy is the issue, right? And you can't fix anything without speaking the truth to the public. And my point to her was, well, I don't like this kind of democracy is the issue. Is like not really addressed. As in, I think it's like in Claire's mind, she is solving a problem. In Claire's mind, she is like, I am answering the question. Nobody is willing to speak the truth. How can this be, right? But my point is, are you really speaking the truth? Because when you say something like democracy is the issue, and it is like something that you can't really fix, it's a bit like when people talk about like climate change, and they are saying, okay, we can't fix all these issues until we like fix like the underlying issue of like, actually, maybe I need a better example, but it's like you're trying to tackle an issue so big and so impossible to tackle. You're ignoring all the other issues that affect people's like factors that affects people's day-to-day life, materially impacts people's lives. And so if we simply say most of the problems with our political system today is down to democracy because it's flawed, then almost any given issue, you can be like, oh, well, we know we're going to fix that because we haven't addressed the underlying issue, that's democracy. And then you're like, oh, you're all liars because, you all don't refuse to acknowledge this issue. But then if that is the nature of the conversation, then every given political topic issue, you're just going to fall back to, oh, well, we're never going to fix it because we haven't addressed democracy. Whereas I'm trying to say that you as an individual with intelligence, with a self-actualization, with a life experience, can make a tangible difference to people's lives if you want to like run for office, take action, whether it's local, whether it's national,
Running for
whether
office.
you want to write, right?
Hedgehog, running for office would mean I buy into the system. Do you understand? Okay, let's say I get loads of money. If I started a political party, it means that I buy into the system. So I can't.
Then you've literally created a circular, vicious argument, right? Which is like, okay, people refuse to talk about democracy, and then like every time there's an issue, you're like, oh yeah, well, it's because you guys are liars and refuse to talk about democracy, and then you say, okay, like,
oh my gosh, look at her butt.
You don't actually engage. If you don't actually engage, then actually you're like, oh yeah, but I'm buying into the system, and I'm as much of a victim as all these other parties. But you just created yourself a massive vicious. You're creating yourself a circular argument.
Not at all.
Well, I could never beat you. I could never beat you in this argument because it like you could fall back to either of these two positions. And I'm just
because it's logical. If I say democracy is a problem, why would I be participating in it? I would be just saying yes and no at the same time. So I can't do that. To make my point, I have to say it's kaput. I'm not participating in it, and it should be abolished. So that's what I have to say, and that's what I do say. And I know it's
this is madness. Politics.
Why?
Politics. Like what is it? Look at the Greek, right? Which is like the affairs of the polis, the affairs of the city, right? The affairs of the world around us. Right? You can't possibly say, okay, I'm not going to participate.
No, I am participating by arguing with you, obviously. But if I'm saying democracy is kaput, then it would be crazy for me to run as an MP, even if I had loads of money, and I wouldn't win anyway. So, and I'm saying it is a problem.
Don't you think secular Quranism is kaput as well?
If it hasn't been tried, then it can't be kaput.
Oh, so you're kind of making that lived experience sort of argument that Hedgehog was making, because he was like, you should become a councillor and then you'll have a lived experience of democracy and then you can work out. So I think what Hedgehog needs to
As
do
a
is
voter,
embrace.
Albert.
No, Hedgehog needs to embrace secular Quranism for at least one whole day and one whole night. And I think
he just needs to buy the book and
then
argue
he'll have a
against
lived
it.
experience.
No, I hate that experience. But experience because it means nobody can challenge you. Because all you have to do is, it's my lived experience. How dare you? You contradict me, because that's how that word is used.
So you're just reacting based on a mental association. So you can't use a word in a different way, can you, Claire? Ooh.
So I'm saying, if that really is a problem,
beyond my caricature, that was actually a serious point, that you have trouble, seeing a word in a different way, because you've got to have your definitions. Oh, because someone used lived experience and they were on the left, and then you were like, whoa, lived experience is kaput. No, you can't use that. Fuck you, hawk, you fuck shit. Shit. Sorry. Hedgehog.
lived experience.
What's
Are
your
you
lived
allowed to
experience?
contradict anyone's lived experience?
Look, shit. Hedgehog basically asked you to get a job, and you were like, no.
Well, what?
He's literally promoting you, saying that you could be a good counsellor. Why don't you try it?
No,
Why don't you
because
try
I'd fall asleep.
and live life?
I'd fall
Well,
asleep.
you fall asleep anyway.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I don't want to fall asleep in boring council meetings. Dealing with the minutiae. Why are there two Dixons?
Oh, because I've logged in as Dixon as well.
But the point is, Hedgehog is not going to question democracy because he's not quite tired of it yet. Maybe he's not old enough to have seen that it has failed or noticed even with
he just recognizes it. He just recognizes it as an inescapable institution. So you've got to work with it, not against it.
Okay, well, just you guys do it and see where it gets you. It won't get you anywhere. You'll just be like all the others, You'll just become another Matthew Goodwin because you won't breach that taboo.
Yeah, well, I'd love to be him. I'd love to be Matthew Goodwin and have a nice little book and populism and democracy or whatever. And I'd like to think of myself as the Steve Bannon of the UK. I would like that. I would prefer to be Matthew Goodwin than Claire Cole.
Well, yes, you are talking about status. He's written a book. He's had a career in academia. But the point is that he's wasting everybody's time by not addressing the issue and refusing to engage on the subject of whether...
Yeah, but you are refusing to engage with Hedgehog's points.
I've engaged with them. I've dealt with them.
Dude, but like Claire, you've engaged in so far. You've presented me the best circular argument I've witnessed in a while. Like I'm not saying your argument is bad.
Are you pretending that my becoming a counsellor would in any way help the arguments of secular Quranism?
Okay, you're literally taking a very small point I made and expanding it into like you're becoming a counsellor. Okay, a deeper point was. Like you have made the assertion Okay, let me be very specific here. You have made the assertion that democracy is the issue here, and that people who don't refuse to confront it are liars, right? And so, basically, the vast majority of the population who do believe in some element of the democracy, whenever they will say, there's this issue in society or this issue in government or this issue in the country that needs to be fixed, and then you will always be able to use your same argument and turn around to them and be like, but you'll never really fix the issue because you've refused to address the underlying issue, that's democracy. And so then actually you'll always beat them with the same stick.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And so your argument, and so in essence, right? Either these people are liars, or they're kind of like blinkered, and you are always right. And I
keep
cannot
suggesting.
fathom. No, because like you are always right, because like I'm saying you, not specifically you, but you and anybody else who believes that democracy like is the issue here, right? As in, lots of people believe that democracy has issues, but you are saying democracy is the issue here.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a distinction in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are in like some kind of 0.1, 0.5% minority, right? Because you're trying to attribute every issue with democracy.
I
And
have
so anybody
arguments
who
and facts
refuses
to
to,
support it.
anybody who thinks that actually you can fix these issues by like these material changes, right? You are just saying, oh well, but you're not really fixing it. It'll come back eventually, or like oh, you fixed this one, but like it will be Jack in the Box. There'll be another one because fundamentally,
Yeah, the
you're not-
problem's systemic.
right? Exactly, right. So you're always able to come back to this argument.
Okay, so
It's incredible. It's a very
challenge my conclusions and say no, democracy is fine, it's working. You're at liberty to make all these arguments, but you don't. You're just condemning me for daring to suggest that democracy is a problem. I mean, if you were serious, you could say,
no,
well, democracy is not the problem because A, B, C, D, E, whatever.
well, yes, I'm telling you, democracy is usually like not the single driving problem, right? When there is a problem like that transpires in society, right? Say there's a pothole on the road. I don't like to use these local democracy examples because you see to poo-poo them all the time, right? But say there's a pothole in the road and it's not been fixed, right? It's not one person's fault usually, right? Now there may well be. You can always push back that there's always one person's fault. But
Wait, can I treat you both to hot pot and you guys fight it out in front of me?
What?
we might also stab you in the process.
Why?
No, I'm joking.
I don't know you were this Chinese, Hedgehog. This is a very insular debate. I feel very left out. Like I feel like an outsider. You both like Chinese. You might as well be speaking Chinese.
Well, we can kick you out.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can bring Dixon.
He's bored with it. He left.
Yeah, he
of his
probably
own
is.
accord.
Anyway,
but you see, Gazelle, it bores you, so we'll have to remove you.
Can I treat you to hot pot?
No, we want to finish the argument.
Yeah, I'm letting you finish. But I was just interjecting here. I want to hear it in real life.
Oh, you're inviting us.
Okay, I will say yes. If Claire says yes.
Yes, of course I'll.
This is going to be exciting. Okay, well, I'm not paying for your train here, or however you're going to travel.
Oh dear, I feel like your career break is really getting to you, Gazelle.
No, I genuinely want to treat you both to hot pot.
Oh, that's too kind.
Well, maybe not hot pot because it's probably just like, oh god, another Chinese dish because you're both Chinese. Maybe. To
be fair, that's actually true. I think hot pot is I think any East Asian can do hot pot better than going to a hot pot place.
Okay.
The only reason why
anyone.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, the only reason why anyone goes to a hot pot is because there's like a venue with a pot and it's all sorted out for you, right? But if you were to just do it at home, like you can get all the ingredients that you want at like a far cheaper price and get the soup to exactly how you want it. Not just some pre-made. Some money.
I want to have a party. Okay. And
okay, you want a party? Okay.
Yeah, and I want to go to a Chinese restaurant where you both are talking about democracy.
Right. So this is just comical for you. Okay.
I would love it. It's comical and it's entertaining, but it's quite intellectually stimulating. Okay, carry on. Sorry, Claire.
I mean, yes. Okay. So what I'm trying to say, Claire, is I'm not saying to you that democracy is never the issue, right? I'm just saying that it's a multivariate issue, and you are associating with it being the driving and single defining issue, and that's where I take issue, right? And we can go into why any given specific political issue is not always about democracy, right?
Well, I can look. I can do it very easily to say that democracy and how it operates under the system of indiscriminate universal suffrage means that men will always be ignored. Their preferences will always be ignored because all these political parties who fight each other for votes will be pandering to the biggest group of voters, which is the female voter. So you're actually digging your own grave, Hedgehog, by refusing to accept my point. Because if you continue with the system, the political parties will just carry on pandering to the female voter at your expense. So, it's up to you. I mean,
Right, as in, okay, I need to,
dictator. I just want to make my point, and that's all I want to do. I don't
Okay.
have to be on BBC or whatever. I will still make.
I have noted your point. I've noted your point, and Gazelle, would you like to take over from this point?
Okay, let me try.
Hello, Dixon. Did you have anything to say?
Again, because I came into this quite later on, I have no context as to the conversation.
Well, it's obviously too boring for Gazelle, who wants to disrupt it, but I'm saying you might as well cut to the chase. If you're a moral or political philosopher, if you think democracy is a problem, then you say it. But Hedgehog is saying, "Oh, but I want to be councillor. I want to be planning officer." If I
No,
say,
I'm not saying that I want to be. You're putting words in my mouth, Claire. I have to push back on this, right? I'm not saying I want to be this. I am saying that you cannot. If I fundamentally do not believe that democracy is the single sole driving issue to our politics today, you cannot force me into taking that position. When for example, there is an issue with, I don't know, you can name a local issue, you can name a national issue, right? Now there are usually loads of factors to why something isn't being fixed, right? So say for example, Grenfell, right? It got set on fire. Well, it burnt down, right? Now you can say, actually, where is the issue here, right? So you can say, okay, is it the issue of the local planning, a local council that approved the building of that building? Is it the issue that it's actually the national government for not regulating facades and material of facades well enough? Is it an issue of the Conservative government not stepping in before this kind of stuff?
Was anyone to blame?
All right, was anyone to blame, for example, right? And then you can talk about, was it the issue of the property developer? Was it the issue of the contractor, right? And actual fact, right, they're kind of all at fault, right? And in varying different, some more, some less so, right? And now I've got an architect friend who's very he cares a lot about kind of urban restoration, urban conservation, and his take is red tape, and his view that when the Georgians and the kind of Edwardians built houses, there was far less regulation, and those buildings didn't just burn down. Builders recognized that you have to build in good brick, and you have to use materials that allow the buildings to last. So there's multiple ways of assessing Grenfell and those issues. But then Yuka will say, well, the fundamental issue is democracy here, because if we had a dictatorship, then we could have regulated this much better.
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Okay, right, but fundamentally, that is how you're addressing a lot of these issues. Every time I bring up an issue, right.
Earlier, was it who was to blame, if there was somebody to blame, or could it not have been helped at all? So the two ways of discussing, of finding out what the problem with Grenfell was. Could it have been prevented? Did it fail any checks? Did people fail to check it, or whatever it was? I can't remember. But
So
that wouldn't
fundamentally,
be a democracy problem. It would be a procedural problem. You know, I don't know, trading standards or safety requirements or being fit for purpose and stuff like that. And
right?
whether
So,
anybody
but
was
even so, this is a very good example here, right? Because in this particular case of Grenfell, you have, is it a political issue of local councillors, or is it a national issue of MPs, of regulation? Is it a procedural issue of officers, of civil servants, of council officers not actually regulating this properly, right? Or is it just, it was all properly regulated, where the property developers broke the law, right? So there's so many ways of looking at this issue.
Yes,
And
but I would not be
and
using
so
democracy.
for you then to charge me at haha, like Hedgehog, like you're going to go into politics, like, and you're going to lie to people by refusing to address democracy, when actually, like, any given political issue, it is complex, it is not easy, right? And I'm just saying, when I'm approaching politics, it is the fact that I believe I am somebody with sufficient lived experience who will be interested in working, well, who have experience in academia, who will be interested in working in public-private sector before I ever even consider kind of running for office, right? As someone like myself, with that background, with like just common sense, right? Me believing in my own intelligence, right? I cannot possibly believe that I can't fix issues that will come up in politics, because I fundamentally believe in me as an independent, sane, intelligent actor. And so for you to then say to me, yeah, well, you're a liar because you refuse to address the underlying issues of democracy, then we're not really having a conversation, because
Well, Hedgehog,
you already you're assuming that I'm coming to it from bad faith, right?
No,
And
because you've
so
already
fair enough.
admitted, you've admitted yourself earlier when you were talking about Matthew Goodwin that you share the same faults as him, because
No, I'm not saying the
really
same.
you
I
kind
share the
of
same feelings.
acknowledged that he was too scared to say what he really needed to say, and that you were, the same. You admitted it
Yes, but like,
yourself.
what? Yeah, no. But like, what I'm trying to say is, he is not constrained by democracy here. He is being constrained by, the fact that he's trying to square a very difficult circle of trying to appeal to 4 different groups.
But
And
he should only be appealing to people who care about the truth. You see, his vision is blurred by, I have to appease who and what. No, just say it.
no,
And
well, but like,
and
what if
appease
he
who wants to say it. That's a
Can't you
problem.
assume that he could be coming from this from good faith? That he
No, he
wants
won't engage with me.
he wants a narrative, a political discourse that appeals to a broad base. And like, as in, I don't know
He's
enough about
pandering
him.
to the shit for brains people who don't want to admit that anything is wrong, that nothing much needs to be changed. He's appealing to these people. Oh yeah, and they don't like Muslims. So you'll never get these people to think outside the system because they can't. It's a taboo, and once you breach a taboo, you lower your own status. It's a trap. You were talking about it earlier. If I say certain things, I'll get cancelled. People will look at me funny, and then I'll never become counsellor or whatever it is I want to be.
Did
And
I say
he
that?
knows that. Listen. Well, that's what I heard you to say, and
Okay, I don't think I
I'm not
used
saying
those
it's
words
weird or
even implied that,
unusual.
because I think
But
me
we
and
all
Gazelle's
know the problem.
no,
We
but
can't
me
say
and
certain
Gazelle's
things.
but me and Gazelle's theory is that like nobody in this society today actually gets cancelled. So I actually think you are
Okay, they
literally.
don't get burnt at
I
the
think
stake. They don't get burnt at the stake. All right, okay, nobody's gonna, but yeah, they kind of get
yeah,
thrown in prison
okay,
too.
right. So I
They get
think
thrown in prison too.
right. Okay, right. I think you're only listening to bits of what you want to listen to what I'm saying. Like, as in, I'm not saying that as a massive critique. It's just I feel like when I was talking about Matthew Goodwin, I'm not trying to make a deep point about democracy, but you decided to interpret that, and that's fine. And it's not really like fair enough. You have that take, that's fine, but it's not my take. And so
I understand, Hedgehog, that you're starting out, so you don't feel you can be, breaching these taboos. I understand. A lot of people won't agree with me because they don't think, oh, it's not my place to say such a terrible thing. And I know I'm saying what does amount to be a terrible thing as far as, Westerners are concerned. They're proud of their democracy, their Christianity, their, liberalism. So yes, I am aware of what
right,
I'm
okay,
saying.
that's fine. That's fine. Right. I feel like we have kind of, as in, I think I fully understand your position. I hope you fully understand mine without being like disingenuous, because I don't think I don't think I'm coming from this because I'm new to the process.
Okay.
I feel like I'm coming from this from a very practical,
Yes,
material
but you're
position, right? Which
watching
is
your
how do
P's
you
and
affect?
Q's.
No,
You
how do you
are.
affect? No. Okay, I want to be very specific here. I'm coming I'm coming from this from the angle of how you deal with real people's material and make a real material difference in real people's lives, right? Like economic difference, right? I really don't give a like. I fundamentally don't really give much of a damn about a lot of like your gripes with underlying causes or underlying issues about democracy. I just don't think it's like relevant to tangible in a tangible way to real people's lives. Now, I think that's where our difference is. I don't think our difference is because I'm new to politics, or that I'm a liar, or that if I was a liar, I wouldn't be having like I wouldn't be going through like some of these kind of nitty gritty details of how I view Matthew Goodwin, and even allowing you to kind of misinterpret my position of or my assessment of Matthew Goodwin. So that's why I kind of reject as such. But I also feel like we've covered so much ground on this already that we don't need to rerun this unless you want
Okay,
to add anything further.
on the point of lived experience, I mean, I don't think, you're not even 30. You don't have the lived experience of being, lied and cheated to by your government. Maybe your parents would, but you're not even 30. And in fact, Hitler said, don't even join a political party until you're over 30 because, whatever conclusions you came to will be rubbish. Wait until you're at least 30 before joining a political party. And I think that's one of the things he said that was very wise.
Right, I will take your points, but I want you to note on record the specific pushback. Like if you are going to transcript this, right? I push back very specifically on 2 points a minute ago. Just if you're going to like misinterpret my position, I want it to be put on the record that I do not want that position to be misinterpreted. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Gazelle and mute myself for a bit.
Okay. Gazelle? Gazelle? Is she giving me the silent treatment now? All right. Let it be silence while I check my notifications. Or I can use the opportunity to make more points about why it is important to get to the root cause of things. And if you don't think that my diagnosis is correct, by all means, supply an alternative diagnosis. So, actually, all the Western world uses the same political system. It has the same values. It adopts the same social, economic, and imperial policies. So that's why we all have the same disease all over the world. In America, in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand. They have the same problems, whinging about the same thing. And they can't solve their problem because they want to keep using democracy, which is why now the the gender identity of people is being threatened. So I'm saying feminism, which promotes racial equality, will eventually cause gender confusion, and gender confusion will cause gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria will lead to transgenderism, leading to further falls in your birth rate in the West. And then that will cause more immigration, which everybody is whinging about, but they just won't make the connection for some reason. And I'm saying the reason is that they won't give up the idea that having sex with anyone not your spouse, well, it's not a human right. You don't have a right to do it. And it's been like that for many, many, many centuries. And it's only in the last 50 years that people have forgotten about it and don't think it matters. But I'm saying it does, because it's dysgenic to allow unmarriageable people to have illegitimate offspring who will also turn out to be unmarriageable, and you're basically growing a group of people who are fundamentally degenerate and dysgenic, and who won't care about the finer points of principle, and who can only be controlled by carrot and stick. So I guess nobody wants to talk anymore, so we'll end the podcast. Thank you for staying so long.